Chapter 388. I just came to see you guys and ask about your results. Wang Feng shook his head. Oomph. Ning Rong pouted. Our results are pretty good. Dai Mubai walked up and said with a smile. So far, we have a complete victory. Only Tang San is injured, but looking at the situation, his injury is quite worth it. Tomorrow, we have to face the Shadow Academy. Fortunately, Joey Kai helped us in advance. No, he helped everyone find out the secret of the Shadow Academy's captain. Tomorrow should be easier. Wang Feng nodded slightly. Although Zhao Ying was very strong, if the secret of her martial soul was discovered, the opponent would be prepared, and it would not be easy. But she was still very strong because the opponent had a soul bone. I feel that there is a threat to us. There should only be God Wind Academy, Purple Star College, and Skywater Academy. Oscar said, God Wind Academy could not beat them, especially 1v1. Skywater Academy's team battle could be said to be ridiculously strong. Shrek's 7 monsters had to fight together to have a chance of winning. But in a 1v1 battle, they were very weak. This was because each of their strengths could only be fully unleashed in an ice and snow environment or in an ice crystal terrain. In this kind of 1v1 battle, only Shui Binger was strong. But she was only strong in one person, and she could not use her 4th soul skill. So the only real threat was God Wind Academy. Wang Feng thought that it was a pity that Thunder Academy in the original work was kicked out by Purple Star College. However, Wang Feng estimated that Little 3 and the others would not necessarily fight him. Because to be honest, with Jioi Kai's strength, it would not be difficult to beat Little 3 and the others. Plus, in a 1v1 battle, they would not be a match for him. Why don't you help me practice? At this time, Zhu Zhuqing came over and said, "In?" Ning Rong looked at Zhu Zhuqing, and a light flashed in her eyes. Wang Feng paused and shook his head. Finish the match. In fact, there are Little 3, Mubai, and Little Wu. You don't have many chances to fight, so the most important thing is to preserve your strength. Oh. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Wang Feng, her eyes a little unfocused. Ning Rong breathed a sigh of relief. The group chatted for a while. Tang San and Xiao Wu walked over side by side. However, both of their faces were red, and they were quite far away from each other. Tang San, in particular, had a guilty look in his eyes. He did not even notice the pebbles under his feet as he walked on the road. Xiao Wu walked over and quickly pulled Ning Rong and Zhu Zhuqing to another room. I say, third brother, why are you so distracted? Ma Hongjun rolled his eyes. Did you guys just know? Tang San woke up with a start. He quickly waved his hand and shook his head while blushing. Nothing happened between us. Wang Feng. It seemed like Xiao San was also a newbie in love. She had no experience at all. After living for 2 lifetimes, this was probably the first time, right? Was it Tinka? Wang Feng walked over and suddenly asked, Brother Feng, how did you know? Tang San said without thinking. However, he suddenly realized something and shook his head. No, there really was nothing. Wang Feng sighed and said, Xiao San, you haven't even cleaned the red marks on your face. Tang San. Needless to say, Wang Feng had guessed it. Xiao Wu probably thought that something had happened between Tang San and Fire Dance, so she took the initiative to do it. They must have kissed. However, to Tang San and Xiao Wu, piercing through this layer of paper window was also a good thing. Inside the room. Oh my, Xiao Wu, what's wrong? Why is your face so red? Ning Rong touched Xiao Wu's face and found that it was unusually hot. Are you sick? No. Xiao Wu grumbled. Ning Rong rolled her eyes and said in surprise, You didn't do something shameful with third brother just now, did you? Her words made Xiao Wu's face turn even redder. Zhu Zhuqing also looked at Xiao Wu. It's not a shameful thing. Xiao Wu said shyly. Then what is it? Are you jealous because third brother went out with Fire Dance just now? Ning Rong giggled. Xiao Wu snorted and told her what happened just now. Actually, it was nothing. Fire Dance just went to apologize and nothing happened between them. However, Fire Dance's injuries were not completely healed and she almost fell down. Tang San helped her up. That's nothing. Ning Rong shook her head. It's not just that. Xiao Wu put her hands on her hips and snorted softly. I think Fire Dance is trying to hit on Big Brother. Maybe she fell down on purpose and took the opportunity to seduce Big Brother. So just in case you ate your brother. Ning Rong Rong finished her sentence. Xiao slapped Ning Rong Rong grumpily. Of course not. It's just, Xiao looked around and pulled Ning Rong Rong and Zhu Zhuqing closer. I only kissed Big Brother. That was his first kiss. I can't let anyone take it away from me. Ning Rong Rong and Zhu Zhuqing's expressions changed when they heard this. Ning Rong Rong blushed a little. She suddenly thought of the night when they defeated Imperial Combat Team at the Great Soul Arena in Soto. While everyone was drunk and asleep, she took advantage of the alcohol and kissed Wang Feng. But she only kissed his cheek. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were also a little shy. No, I can't let someone else steal Wang Feng's first kiss. Ning Rong Rong thought shyly. How did it feel? Zhu Zhuqing suddenly asked. She was always quiet and rarely asked questions like this. It felt like I ate honey. My whole body felt soft. Xiao Wu said shyly. But it felt good. I can't tell you. You'll know when you do it with the person you like. Xiao Wu didn't shy away from saying this to the three girls. Zhu Zhuqing nodded and didn't ask any more questions. For the next few days, Wang Feng was happy to be idle. Almost all the teams he met along the way automatically admitted defeat. It seemed that they were very self-aware. Even the Divine Wind team didn't want to fight him, which made Wang Feng very satisfied. Originally, the Beast team wanted to fight him, but the first Soul Master found that poison didn't work on him and directly admitted defeat. The captain didn't want to fight. The main reason was that their martial souls did have a certain amount of poison, but it wasn't fatal. More importantly, it was a type of poison that reduced attributes. There were all kinds of poisons that reduced attributes like strength, defense, soul power, and so on, but they were all ineffective on him. If they couldn't reduce his combat strength, then they had no chance of winning and naturally chose to give up. The Brutal Blood team was the same. But the interesting thing about the Brutal Blood team was that they were really tough. They didn't say anything and directly used their ultimate. They were even tougher than the Elephant Armor sect, and their soul skills were almost the same. Their first soul skill was called Blood Rage. Chapter 389. Entering the Blood Rage state. The whole person's strength increased by 100%, the battle reaction greatly increased, the power of the soul skills increased exponentially, and the mind remained clear. This was the most powerful point, equivalent to a berserker still having consciousness after going berserk. Of course, it was not without disadvantages. After using it, the body would be weak for a day. But even so, the first member they sent was knocked unconscious by Wang Feng's hammer and directly gave up. Obviously, I didn't want to waste time, which really made Wang Feng feel very relaxed. Needless to say, the other teams. So Wang Feng just happened to be watching the battle from Shrek Academy. However, Wang Feng felt a little surprised that Ning Rong Rong's gaze was always evasive, occasionally looking at him with bright eyes. He didn't know what she was thinking. Even Zhu Zhuqing was a little strange. Wang Feng didn't care much. Unknowingly, more than 10 days had passed since the advancement competition. Shrek Academy only had Brutal Blood Academy, God Wind Academy, and Shrek Academy left to fight. Today you are going to fight Brutal Blood Academy. The master slowly said, "Do you have any suggestions or insights?" Brutal Blood Academy had the best record besides Shrek, Purple Star, and God Wind Academy. At present, they only lost to Purple Star and Divine Wind. Even Divine Wind was almost overturned by them. Because Brutal Blood Academy's captain, Bao Yi, had a Brutal Blood Pterosaur martial soul, which was not inferior to Feng Xiaoyan's mutated storm twin-headed wolf, and had extremely terrifying strength. The key point was that he could also fly. Therefore, Brutal Blood Academy almost relied on this captain to directly defeat the 6 members of Divine Wind Academy. In the end, Feng Xiaotian took action and defeated the exhausted Bao Yi. Wang Feng also felt that the battle was quite exciting. Brutal Blood Pterosaur was a really rare dragon-type martial soul, only inferior to Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon by a bit. To some extent, it was even stronger. because Wang Feng remembered that blue lightning tyrant dragon seemed to be of a low level and couldn't fly. Therefore, Brutal Blood Academy was very strong. Brutal Blood Academy's average level is 39, which is very high. If we let Tai Long and the rest fight, I'm afraid they'll be defeated very quickly. Tang San frowned. Teacher, let me and Mu Bai take the lead. With Xiao Wu and Zhu Qing, we should be able to defeat them. In the previous few battles, they had only sent out 3 people. Sometimes, 2 people were enough. But this time, Team Cruel Blood was very troublesome. Although the lowest level of the other party was only level 37, only 3 of them were above level 40, and they were around level 43. Only the leader Bao Yi was level 45. But unfortunately, the opening blow was a little too strong. Furthermore, the other party had been directly crushing his opponents for the past 2 days. He had preserved his strength well. Obviously, it was to deal with the Shrek Academy. Of the 4 substitutes, other than Jiang Zhu, every other member of Brass Blood Battle was stronger than them. Then how many do you have the confidence to defeat? Grandmaster asked. At least 2, Tang Sin said confidently. He was a control-type soul master and could somewhat restrain the Brutal Blood Battle team. What about Mu Bai? Grandmaster continued asking. 2 at most. Dai Mu Bai pondered for a moment. I'll take 1. Xiao Wu thought for a moment. After they use the Blood Rage soul skill, their reaction is very fast and their strength is very strong. My soul skill can't be used well. She was only level 40. 2. Zhu Zhuqing also said. Grandmaster shook his head and said, Then let me ask you, who will take care of the last Bao Yi? Hearing this, the few of them were stunned. As the leader, Bao Yi only went up against the Divine Wind and Sky Water in these 10 over battles. Even the Blazing Academy didn't go up, but their strength was undeniable. They were directly against the Divine Wind Battle team. Their soul skills were also of the highest level and were very difficult to deal with. At this moment, Wang Feng thought for a moment and said, Actually, Team Cruel Blood has a very big weakness. This weakness isn't just what you see. After they use their first soul skill, they will be weak for a day. In fact, there's an even more obvious weakness. Hearing this, everyone was stunned and looked at Wang Feng. You only saw them crushing their opponents after activating their first Blood Rage state. Wang Feng pondered and said, But you didn't notice that their Blood Rage state consumes a lot of soul power. Hearing this, everyone seemed to understand something. So I suggest that you guys go directly against Jing Ling, Huang Yuan, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing. Wang Feng said with a smile, It's very easy to defeat them. You don't even need to make a move. At this moment, Grandmaster laughed and said, That's right. Do you still remember my 6-ring Soul Emperor Seniors training the day before the promotion? How to deal with an enemy stronger than yourself. One drag, and this Cruel Blood Battle team is the most suitable for you to use this tactic. Everyone was enlightened. Right. Why should they fight with them head-on? And the last opponent suggests that you give it to Zhu Qing. Grandmaster continued. The reason is very simple. It's already evening. Today's competition was held in the afternoon. The first few battles were very long, and they were the last one. Wang Feng told everyone about the weaknesses and the positions arranged by Grandmaster, so no one objected. Brother Feng, how do you know about this problem of the Cruel Blood Battle team? Tang Sin asked. I've watched every one of their battles. They defeated their opponents with sufficient soul power. Even when they faced the Divine Wind Battle team, they admitted defeat and retreated in time. Many times they still had soul power, but they still admitted defeat and retreated. So, Wang Feng said, it's precisely because they do this. After careful analysis and observation, you will find that they deliberately hide this weakness and problem. They don't want others to know and then drag them down. Hearing this, Tang San was stunned. Yes, they would never be defeated when their soul power was exhausted. Even if they couldn't beat their opponents, they would admit defeat in advance. Isn't it strange? No team has no weakness, just like you guys. Wang Feng said, only 5 of you have top combat power, and all of you are different. But if there is a special method similar to the Blazing Academy that can gather the power of 7 people at one point, you have no trump card to defeat them. In short, Tang San and the others didn't have a real trump card. Originally, Tang San's hidden weapon could be used, but it was forbidden. Even if Tang San combined his own Tang sect martial arts with his martial soul, it couldn't be used as a trump card. It was the kind of trump card that could defeat the enemy across a huge gap. This was also the reason why the Shrek Academy felt a little powerless against the Upper Nine, because they couldn't come up with a trump card that could give them hope of winning. Tang San nodded silently. At this time, the competition began. Chapter 390. The first to go up was Jingling. As an agility-type soul master, she encountered a rank 37 violent ape from the Cruel Blood team. As soon as the match started, the violent ape used his martial soul to activate the Blood Rage soul skill and rushed over. Jingling only dodged, just like that day when she fought with the Six-Ring Soul Emperor. At that time, Jingling was able to hold on for 5 seconds in the hands of the Six-Ring Soul Emperor, which was already very good. After fighting for 5 minutes, although Jingling was a little injured, the violent ape had consumed a lot of soul power. In the end, he could only admit defeat with a gloomy face. He, who still had soul power, naturally couldn't continue fighting. Soon, Jingling met the second soul master, Violent Bear. This time was even simpler. Violent Ape's martial soul could surpass Jingling's speed, so it could cause damage to her. But it was impossible for Violent Bear's martial soul. Jingling was almost uninjured and directly exhausted the Violent Bear Soul Master until he admitted defeat. However, Jingling had also exhausted her soul power. But defeating 2 members of the Cruel Blood team in a row made Jingling very excited. Next was Huang Yuan. As an assault-type soul master, Huang Yuan only delayed 1 soul master. The second soul master was halfway through, and his soul power was insufficient. After all, his speed was very different from Jingling's. Isn't this too easy? Ma Hongjun couldn't help but say, their flaws are exposed. Is it so easy to fight? The previous Divine Wind team didn't have it so easy. When the Divine Wind team fought against the Cruel Blood team, they could often fight 1 against 2, but it was very strenuous. Moreover, they fought against the Cruel Blood team members with a high soul power rank. Now, they were the complete opposite, using a substitute with a low soul power rank to fight against a high-level Cruel Blood team member. You can think about when you fought against the Botany Academy. Wasn't it easy? Wang Feng said. Ma Hongju nodded. It was indeed very satisfying. However, if I'm not wrong, at this time, Wang Feng continued, the Cruel Blood team should have discovered our tactics. They may change their strategy. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They should directly increase Bao Yi's strength in the next match and won't give us any chance to delay. Wang Feng said. The Cruel Blood team members weren't fools. 3 of them were defeated by 2 soul masters over rank 30. His strength clearly surpassed theirs. If this dragged on, wouldn't they be left with only Bao Yi? As expected, the one who went on stage this time was indeed Bao Yi. Plans can never keep up with changes. Wang Feng shrugged and said, it's not night yet. If Zhu Qin goes up, she might not be able to beat this flying Bao Yi. Xiao Wu doesn't have a 4th soul ring, so she has no chance of winning. Everyone's expression froze slightly. Clearly, the other party had seen through their tactics. Therefore, he directly sent Bao Yi up. With such a huge gap in soul power, it would be very difficult to drag on. I'll go. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing walked out and said softly, I can do it. Wang Feng was stunned. He looked at her and coughed. The difference in soul power between the 2 of you is a little too big. The main thing was that Bao Yi's strength had increased after using Blood Rage. With the 2 added together, unless the moonlight descended and Zhu Zhuqing's strength increased, they would still be able to fight. Everyone fell silent. Zhu Zhuqing didn't say anything. She just stared straight at Wang Feng. The competition had a rule that before the competition, support-type soul masters couldn't use soul skills to increase their strength. Therefore, Ning Rongrong couldn't help her, and Wang Feng couldn't help her either. However, Zhu Zhuqing's gaze made it difficult for Wang Feng to reject her. That look in his eyes seemed to be saying, I want to fight. All right, come with me. Wang Feng thought for a while and brought Zhu Zhuqing to the side. There was no one around. He whispered, "My golden lotus can increase your soul power by 4 ranks, but don't tell anyone about this for the time being." Wang Feng had never told anyone about this ability of the golden lotus. He had kept it as a trump card. It seemed that this 4 ranks of soul power wasn't very powerful. But if one imagined, it could also increase a titled Daluo's soul power by 4 ranks. What kind of concept was that? Wang Feng felt that this was one of the most abnormal abilities of the golden lotus. It was much more powerful than healing injuries and recovering soul power. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing opened her eyes wide and blinked at Wang Feng with watery eyes. It seemed to say, "I know." She was also a little curious, because she had never heard of Wang Feng's golden lotus having this ability. "Okay," Zhu Zhuqing replied in a low voice. "I'll keep this a secret for you." This was already the second secret. Actually, it's not a secret. You will find out sooner or later. Wang Feng shook his head. "It's a secret." Wang Feng. "Fine, if you say it's a secret." Wang Feng didn't refute. It was stupid to refute a girl. He secretly used his golden lotus to temporarily increase Zhu Zhuqing's soul power by 4 ranks. Yes, it was only temporary. How long it lasted was related to Wang Feng's strength. Wang Feng brought Zhu Zhuqing back. Everyone looked at him strangely. "Wang Feng, where did you go?" Ning Rongrong couldn't help but ask. "I told her some techniques to defeat her enemies." Wang Feng explained. "Can't we know?" Ning Rongrong pouted. Wang Feng gave Ning Rongrong a gentle smile. If he continued to answer, there would be no end to it. Looking at Wang Feng's smile, Ning Rongrong blushed. She snorted and didn't continue to ask. Grandmaster guessed something and nodded slightly at Zhu Zhuqing. Soon, Zhu Zhuqing walked up. The unexpected change in the brutal blood team made Wang Feng help Zhu Zhuqing a little. Whether she could win or not depended on her performance. After all, he didn't use a soul skill, but the ability of the golden lotus. Soon, Zhu Zhuqing went up on stage. Bao Yi was stunned. Bao Yi was a relatively sturdy youth, but he had a baby face, which was easy to remember. At this moment, he was stunned for a long time when he saw a beautiful girl walk up. Because Zhu Zhuqing didn't fight much in the promotion round. He was naturally surprised, but he also frowned. The other party was a girl, so it wasn't easy to make a move. However, when the two of them fought, Bao Yi couldn't frown, because she was too strong. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's soul power increased by 4 ranks, which was equivalent to rank 45. And this was the increase in soul power given by the golden lotus. The difference of 4 ranks was too exaggerated. It was on par with Bao Yi. Zhu Zhuqing, who was already very strong, didn't hold back after her martial soul possession and directly created a clone. Zhu Zhuqing could already completely grasp the method that Wang Feng taught her as a 6-ringed soul emperor, but it wasn't enough. Zhuqing controls a clone. Not only does it have 100% of the original strength, but the soul power consumption is also very low. The damage it suffers is also much lower. Tang Sen looked at the stage. It seems that Zhuqing's soul power fluctuation has become much stronger. What's going on? Chapter 391. Although Zhu Zhuqing rarely went on stage, the other academies didn't know much about her, and they weren't clear about her soul power level. But as teammates, whether it was Tang San or the others, they naturally knew Zhu Zhuqing's soul power level very well. At this moment, they could clearly feel that Zhu Zhuqing's strength seemed to have increased by more than 1 level. Swish, swish, swish. Several pairs of eyes stared straight at Wang Feng. Wang Feng's eyes drifted and whistled as if it had nothing to do with him. "Why are you all looking at me?" Wang Feng was surprised. "Why? Are you still not allowing Zhu Qing to hide her strength?" Everyone, the few of them didn't dwell on it too much, but looked at the stage seriously. Similarly, even Tang San and the rest were shocked, let alone Bao Yi. It was simply shocking. Zhu Zhuqing controlled the doppelganger, coupled with her terrifying speed. Even Bao Yi, who entered the blood rage state, couldn't compete with her. What shocked Bao Yi the most was that this girl's attack power was also ridiculously strong. The two doppelganger made him flustered. Moreover, because she only controlled one doppelganger, Zhu Zhuqing's control was extremely dexterous. This made Bao Yi unable to completely deal with the doppelganger in a short time. In addition, the doppelganger could also use soul skills, although it also consumed the soul power of the original body. But it was harder to defend against. At this moment, a pair of wings had already grown out from Bao Yi's back, and he flew into the air with sweat all over his head, temporarily delaying the attack caused by Zhu Zhuqing. Soul skill, Nether Stab. A cold light flashed in Zhu Zhuqing's eyes. I can't hit you in the air? As Zhu Zhuqing charged forward, the doppelganger beside her lowered its body slightly and raised its hands slightly. Zhu Zhuqing directly stepped on the doppelganger's hands. Then, the doppelganger raised its hands suddenly. In an instant, Zhu Zhuqing was like an arrow leaving the bow, flying towards Bao Yi in the air. Bao Yi was shocked. He didn't expect the opponent to dare to do this. Courting death. This is the sky. Bao Yi's eyes turned cold. He clasped his hands together as though he was condensing a ball of terrifying light. Soul skill. Cloud-splitting furious dragon strike. This was a move that required energy accumulation. It was most suitable for enemies who dared to jump into the air and attack him. This was because some assault-type soul masters were more reckless and liked to charge at him when they saw him flying in the air. Although this girl's method was somewhat ingenious, and she was able to attack him, as long as she was close to him, his attack would be completed and he would be able to knock her off the stage. At this moment, many people watched as Zhu Zhuqing got closer and closer to Bao Yi, who was in midair. They couldn't help but hold their breaths in concentration. She's a bit reckless, Dai Mubai frowned and said. Bao Yi is in the air, waiting for an exhausted enemy to use his soul skill. It's very dangerous for her to rush up like this. Not only him, but everyone else also thought so. It did seem a little reckless. It was difficult for enemies on the ground to deal with enemies in the air. Without the ability to fly, even for someone like Xiao Wu who had the ability to teleport, it was still very dangerous. It's not that simple. Wang Feng smiled and said, You guys have to believe in her. Zhu Qing is quite powerful. She must have her own thoughts. Think about it. If Bao Yi also thinks so and thinks that Zhu Zhuqing is reckless, isn't this the best time for him to let his guard down? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. That seemed to be the case. Ning Rongrong pouted and thought, I'm also very powerful, but Zhu Qing, you can do it. At this moment, looking at Zhu Zhuqing's attack and calculating the distance, Bao Yi's eyes flashed with a trace of cold light. He clasped his palms together, and the condensed light ball in his hands took shape. It instantly turned into a beam of light and attacked Zhu Zhuqing. The beam of light instantly hit Zhu Zhuqing. Seeing the scene, Tang San and the others' hearts almost jumped to their throats. Look behind Bao Yi. Wang Feng's faint voice sounded. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Then, they suddenly opened their eyes wide. At the same time, Bao Yi saw that Zhu Zhuqing was completely hit by his attack, and there was no joy on his face. Then, he heard a cold voice behind him. Hidden Moon slash. In a split second, Bao Yi was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. Wasn't she hit by my spirit skill? How did she appear behind me? Wait, could it be? Shadow, doppelganger. He seemed to have thought of something, but it was too late. A flash of purplish gold light streaked across his back. Bao Yi only felt a huge force coming from behind, as if it was going to tear his back apart. Boom! Bao Yi fell onto the high platform like a huge rock. The audience was suddenly stunned. It's Shadow, doppelganger. She rushed into the air and used Nether Stab to attack Bao Yi, making him let down his guard and use his spirit skill to attack him. When the opponent's spirit skill was about to hit him, she used Shadow, doppelganger. She let her doppelganger take the attack for her, while her real body appeared behind Bao Yi. Tang San was stunned. This seems to be the technique that the Six-Ringed Spirit Emperor Senior gave to Zhu Qing. Xiao Wu said in surprise. Bao Yi probably didn't expect that Zhu Qing had more than 2 doppelgangers. It's 4. At such a special juncture, she used Shadow Doppelganger to attack the enemy without any warning. Wang Feng's face also revealed a smile. Although he was a little nervous for Zhu Qing, he could guess what Zhu Qing was thinking. She rushed into the air, made use of the opponent's relaxation, and used Shadow Doppelganger to attack the opponent at the moment when the opponent attacked. There was no time to dodge. Bao Yi didn't have much spirit power left after taking the Hidden Moon slash add-on, so his defeat was inevitable. It could be said that Zhu Qing already had a plan in her heart from the beginning, and it was executed perfectly. Seems like I taught her well. She learned very quickly. Wang Feng thought for a while. At this moment, Bao Yi decisively admitted defeat. Seeing this, Zhu Qing's mouth curved up and seemed to be very happy. She couldn't help but look at Wang Feng, as if asking, "How did I do?" Wang Feng nodded slightly. After all, Zhu Qing already knew his identity as a 6-ring spirit emperor, and she also knew that he was the one who taught her that day. Seeing Wang Feng nod, Zhu Qing's eyes curved slightly. She walked down the stage. "Seventh sister, you're too strong." Ma Hongjun gave a thumbs up. This battle was quite like a captain's. "I didn't expect such a clever way to defeat Bao Yi, but did you hide your strength?" Zhu Qing's face also revealed a smile, and said softly, "You can say that my hidden strength is not stable." After that, Zhu Qing secretly glanced at Wang Feng. Something must have happened between them just now. Ning Rongrong vaguely noticed Zhu Qing's gaze and thought, there must be a secret hidden from everyone. If Wang Feng knew Ning Rongrong's thoughts, he would be shocked. This girl's sensitivity was simply terrifying. Your performance was perfect. Tang Sen also praised. Even if Zhu Qing's spirit power had increased, Bao Yi had blood rage, and his strength had doubled. Moreover, he could fly, so he wasn't so easy to defeat. Tang San and the others didn't have the confidence to win. They didn't expect Zhu Qing to achieve such a huge victory. After everyone congratulated them, today's competition came to an end, and tomorrow they will be facing Purple Star College. Chapter 392. In the match against Purple Star College, Master did not advise Tang San and the others to give up. On the other hand, HI allowed them to give it a try. The reason was simple. Among the 7 of them, only Oscar and Ning Rongrong had not fought yet. The other 5 had already fought, which was why they were able to achieve their current results. They could not preserve their strength, even if they wanted to. Why not give it their all? First of all, the tactics used tomorrow will be the same as today's match against Brutal Blood Team. Master analyzed carefully for everyone. 9-1 is very strong and completely surpasses all of you. Everyone nodded. This was indeed the case. So we'll still use that word, the word drag. Master looked at Huang Yuan, Jing Ling, and Tai Long. What you need to do is drag it out for as long as you can. This was inevitable. Against an enemy who was far stronger than them, they had to drag it out. They had to exhaust their opponent's soul power as much as possible. I think 9-1 has a weakness. At this moment, Tang San suddenly said. Wang Feng also listened and was slightly surprised. What weakness do I have? Why don't I know about it? Seeing that everyone's gazes were on him, Tang San pondered for a moment before saying, thinking back, from the start of the preliminaries until now, Jiu Yi has been pursuing extreme speed in every match, striving to use the simplest method to defeat his opponent. His fighting style is not sloppy at all. It's decisive and short. Tang San was right. Wang Feng's fighting style was extremely short. He did not make a move, but when he made a move, he would definitely hit the target. He used the most effective method to defeat the enemy. This reminds me of Brutal Blood Team today. Tang San said, it's just that it's too short. It's as if he deliberately pursued such speed to defeat the enemy. All his matches, including the match against Tinshui team, were very short from the moment he made his move. Everyone, think about it. His external attachment soul bone is so strong. Does it have no weakness? It's definitely impossible. Often, the stronger the ability, the more obvious the weakness. It's just that we didn't notice it, just like Brutal Blood Team today. I'm guessing that the external attachment soul bone can't be used for a long time. Either it's because of the soul bone itself, or it's because of my soul power. Even though my 8 spider spear has become stronger, I can't fight for long unless I use it to absorb the soul power of other soul masters. Also, the 9-to-1 external soul bone has 2 very obvious characteristics. The first is its weight, and the second is that it can change its form. How heavy was it? From the previous battles with the Elephant Armor Sect and Skywater Academy, I can tell that it weighs at least 4,000 kilograms. Tang San's analysis was actually very reasonable. Think about it. 8,000 pounds of weight on your body. How much soul force do I need to reduce it every second? If he didn't circulate his soul force, his body would directly bear the weight of 4,000 kilograms. This was a huge burden on his body. This kind of consumption is definitely not something a normal rank 40 soul master can bear. Tang San's eyes sparkled. Every word he said made everyone nod their heads incessantly. Wang Feng also secretly nodded. Little Three's guess was actually very close. Even if a normal soul master were to absorb the mysterious underworld armor, it would be very difficult for them to use it. Firstly, it was too heavy. Secondly, it consumed a lot of soul force, especially the mysterious underworld spike. The reason why Wang Feng directly sent Huo Wuxuang flying with his iron fist was because he didn't want to waste time with him. Tens of thousands of mysterious underworld spikes were circulated with soul force. Even if each spike only required a sliver of soul force, it was still a very terrifying consumption with tens of thousands of soul force. A normal rank 45 soul master wouldn't dare to play like this. This was also one of the only weaknesses of the mysterious underworld spike. Wang Feng had the meteoric tear. Coupled with the fact that his soul force was compressed and purified, he had extremely durable soul force and extremely fast soul force recovery speed. Only then did he dare to play with the mysterious underworld spike. Otherwise, even a rank 60 soul master wouldn't dare to play with tens of thousands of mysterious underworld spikes. However, Wang Feng could. Tang San was able to see this clearly, proving that he was very smart. It was obvious that he was very attentive to the 9-to-1 external soul bone. In other words, he's consuming his soul force every second. Tang San smiled. Every time we're on the stage, he's consuming more soul force than we are. Wang Feng nodded his head as he listened. He was right. Therefore, I'm sure that he can attack for a long time. The longest match was against Skywater Academy that day. It was very amazing. However, I calculated carefully. From the moment he took the initiative to the moment he broke through the opponent's icy environment and terrain, it only took him about 40 seconds. Then, the limit of the 9-to-1 external soul bone should be 1 minute, as long as each of us can last 10 to 15 seconds on the stage. At this point, Tang San revealed a confident smile. He'll definitely lose. Clap, clap, clap. Wang Feng was the first to applaud. Well said. Grandmaster Tang San was actually thinking in a big direction. If a normal rank 45 soul master used the mysterious underworld armor on the stage, it would probably take about 30 seconds. That would be the limit. If he used tens of thousands of mysterious underworld spikes, like the huge iron fist that Wang Feng formed, his soul force would probably be exhausted before he could use it. Also, his body wouldn't be able to bear it. Unfortunately, Wang Feng was different. His body was too strong. Even if he could bear the weight of the mysterious underworld armor, he wouldn't feel any burden. The strength of a first-grade soul master was no joke. The consumption of soul force to use the mysterious underworld armor was almost nothing to Wang Feng. Why? Because he had the meteoric tear, and his normal soul force recovery speed was enough for him to use the mysterious underworld armor. If he used it, according to the number of mysterious underworld spikes used, Wang Feng could fight for a long time. Unless he used tens of thousands of mysterious underworld spikes, he might not be able to last long. However, a few minutes was no problem. In all fairness, Tang San's analysis was accurate enough. However, since Little Three already has a plan, we'll follow this strategy tomorrow. The master glanced at Wang Feng. For each of you, Tai Long, Jingling, and Huang Yuan's time requirements can be lowered, but for Mu Bai, Xiao Wu, Hong Jun, Zhu Qing, and Xiao San, try your best to achieve between 10 and 15 seconds. All right, let's rest. There are only 2 matches left. The next day, the second last day of the qualifier round. On this day, the team's rankings were very clear. The first tier, Purple Star College, Shrek, Divine Wind, and so on. The second tier, Cruel Blood, Jihua, Tianshui, Inying, and so on. The third tier, Exotic Beasts, Balak Botany, and so on. The tier didn't change much. The only thing that changed was the ranking of each tier. Purple Star and Shrek were both in first place with consecutive victories. Although it was only the second last day of the qualifier round, it was even more attractive, because Purple Star and Shrek were facing off against each other. Moreover, Shrek Academy didn't choose to admit defeat. Although they gave up once in the qualifier round, they obviously wouldn't do it this time. Chapter 393. This day's arrangement seemed to lean towards Shrek Academy's side, as it was the last match. This meant that this match would be near the evening. At that time, Zhu Zhuqing's strength would be greatly improved. Therefore, Tang San suggested that the Grandmaster arrange for Zhu Zhuqing to be the last, hoping that she would be able to deal a fatal blow to 9-1. However, this time, Wang Feng didn't choose to help Zhu Zhuqing. The first 6 matches didn't end quickly. By the time they were done, the sky had already darkened. Many torches had been erected around the martial arts practice field, illuminating the entire martial arts practice field. The last match was about to begin. 9-1 slowly walked onto the stage. After a few days, many members of the academy were slightly dazed when they saw 9-1-1 again. They didn't fight in the qualifiers, but the 2 teams finally met. Ning Fengji sighed in the front row. I wonder what kind of sparks will erupt between them. Bishop Salas didn't seem to have any intention of arguing with Ning Fengji. He just narrowed his eyes and waited quietly for the match to begin. On the other hand, the Snowy Night Emperor was a little interested as he said, "Everyone from Shrek Academy is very strong. Among the other teams, their strength is the most average. 8 against 1, this will be a tough battle for 9-1-1. Ning Fengji nodded slightly. The pace of the qualifiers was very fast. They had been watching it for more than 10 days. This was especially so for the last match. Purple Star College only had 9-1-1. There was no need for any personnel to be transferred, and there was no need for discussion. This greatly sped up the time. Anyway, as long as you could beat 9-1-1, you would win. Shrek Academy sent out Tai Long first. Wang Feng smiled. He recalled the time when he was a 6-ring Soul Emperor and taught a few people before the qualifiers. However, his strength at that time was different from now. Now, Wang Feng was using first gear and mysterious underworld armor, so it was hard to tell. A 6-ring Soul Emperor was at least 2nd gear because Void Mirror could only be used at 2nd gear. Tai Long wasn't as reckless as before. After entering the arena with his martial soul possession, he looked at Wang Feng with a look that said, "I want to drag you down." According to Tang San's train of thought, he had to attack if he had a 9-1 chance. Because if he did not attack and just stood there, his energy consumption would be far greater than Tai Long's. The one who would be at a disadvantage would always be the 9-1 chance. Therefore, the one who initiated the attack would definitely be 9-1. The truth was not wrong. Wang Feng was indeed taking the initiative to attack. Without another word, Wang Feng charged towards Tai Long. Wang Feng didn't even need to use the mysterious underworld spike to deal with Tai Long, who was a pure strength-type soul master. Drag? How can it be so easy to drag things out? Wang Fengxin thought. His speed was so fast that Tai Long could not react in time. In just a few blinks of an eye, Wang Feng was already beside him. However, Tai Long's purple soul ring also lit up at this moment. Third soul skill. Immovable mountain. Tai Long let out a loud roar, and the muscles all over his body swelled again. As if he was riding a horse, both of his feet were slightly embedded into the arena, leaving a footprint that was visible to the naked eye. Immovable mountain was a skill that allowed him to stand like a mountain peak. As he took root in the ground, it was difficult for his enemies to shake him. It was a soul skill that allowed him to defend while waiting for an attack. Right now, he was using it to resist a few of 9-to-1's attacks. He would resist as many attacks as he could. Wang Feng punched Tai Long's chest. The immense strength caused Tai Long to be unable to stabilize himself in the arena, and he was forced to take more than 10 steps back. From this, one could see how powerful a pure, strength-type soul master was. Although Wang Feng had held back some of his strength in this punch, even Dai Mubai would be sent flying. As Tai Long retreated, he glanced at Wang Feng from the corner of his eye. When he realized that this punch was not enough to send him flying, he was delighted. Following this, he took a deep breath and planned to stabilize himself before using Immovable Mountain again. Although his third soul skill consumed a lot of energy, it was not a problem for him to use it a few times. However, at this moment, Wang Feng laughed. As he looked at Tai Long, who was retreating, he swung his palm. Several streaks of black light appeared. However, these streaks of black light did not land on Tai Long's body. Instead, they landed precisely where Tai Long was retreating, as if they were equipped with a navigation system. Tai Long felt as if he had stepped on something slippery. His body, which was already under control, suddenly staggered. It was as if he had stepped on a banana peel, and he fell to the ground. Boom! His huge body fell to the ground, causing the arena to tremble. This caused countless people to be stunned. They did not understand how Tai Long had fallen. As they were puzzled, everyone focused on Tai Long. They realized that Tai Long had stepped on a special shoe. There were few round wheels under the shoe. Everyone was speechless. Tyrone's huge body fell to the ground with a loud crash. He only lasted for less than 5 seconds before he was defeated. The shoe that was formed by the mysterious underworld spike was called a pulley shoe. Tai Long had stepped on it when he was retreating. Even under normal circumstances, he would have fallen if he had stepped on it. My mysterious underworld spike can not only be used as a tool for myself. Wang Fengxin thought to himself, in my hands, the mysterious underworld spike is a tool to defeat the enemy. In the hands of the enemy, it is a hindrance. This was what Wang Feng had been thinking about these days. Sometimes, the more he felt that he had unearthed all the abilities of the mysterious underworld spike, the more he felt that it was too useful. Logically speaking, Wang Feng felt that the mysterious underworld spike was really tailor-made for him. To put it bluntly, even if the mysterious underworld spike was given to anyone in the Douluo world, they would not be able to use it as well as he did. Because he came from the modern era, the things he could imagine were unimaginable by the humans of the current Douluo world. For example, during the qualifiers against Skywater Academy, the speed skating blades formed under his feet. The more imaginative a soul master was, the more powerful the mysterious underworld spike would be. Everyone who saw this scene was silent, especially Tang San and the others. They thought that Tai Long would be able to hold on for at least 10 seconds. After all, if he was only defending, it would not be easy to knock him out of the arena in a short time. Unless Jiao Yi used the huge hammer he used to fight Huo Wushuang on the first day. But in that case, the other party would consume a lot of soul power. They were hoping that Jiao Yi would do that. But no one expected that Jiao Yi would only use one punch and use his soul bone to form a special shoe to defeat Tai Long. He was defeated even faster than when he fought against the six-ringed Soul Emperor. Soon, they did not have much time to think. The second person was Jingling. As an agility-type soul master, Jingling did not have Tai Long's strength or special defensive skills. She could only rely on her speed to dodge. Unfortunately, there was still a big gap between her speed and Jiao Yi's. But Jingling had a very powerful soul skill. Third soul skill, bone softening. It could cause the bones in the body to soften and become elastic. It could remove most of the enemy's power and, at the same time, increase the sensitivity by 100%. Chapter 394. His martial soul was skeleton, which was why he could do this. Using this soul skill, it was very difficult for the enemy to hit him. But unfortunately, Wang Feng used the mysterious underworld spike to cover the back of his neck, forming a steel plate. With a punch, he used the vibration of the steel plate to soften his bones and turn them into hyperplasia. For a moment, Jingling felt dizzy and weak, instantly losing the ability to fight. In less than 5 seconds, Jingling was also defeated. His defeat left everyone scratching their heads, because 9-1-Kai's attack was a little unbelievable. After I used bone softening, I didn't suffer much damage when he punched me. Logically speaking, I should have been able to last for 10 seconds. After getting off the stage, Jingling smiled bitterly. Bone softening caused his body to have an effect similar to a rubber band, but he used the soul bone to form a mold similar to a steel plate on the back of my neck. His punch didn't hit me, but the mold shook crazily. I felt numb all over from my neck down, and I couldn't use any strength. Jingling shook his head. Tang San and the others were silent. Then, it was Lone Wolf Huang Yuan's turn. As an assault-type soul master, his strength wasn't as good as Tai Long's, and his speed wasn't as good as Jingling's, but he had both. He was Dai Mubai's substitute, which was also a weakened version. Wang Feng defeated him in less than 5 seconds. The 3 substitutes finished fighting. The fourth to go up was Xiao Wu. She skipped up to the ring. 9-1-Kai, please advise me, Xiao Wu said with a smile. She was an agility type, and in terms of agility, she was only slightly inferior to Zhu Zhuqing, and that was only because of her soul power. Her soul skills were all single-target soul skills. Once entangled with her, it would be difficult to win, especially after Xiao Wu had the teleportation soul skill. It was like adding wings to a tiger, unless you could predict where she would teleport to. But it was almost impossible to predict. Furthermore, Xiao Wu's body was very flexible, even more powerful than Jingling after using her soul skill. She could use all kinds of techniques to dodge the enemy. It could be said that Xiao Wu was the hardest to fight in a 1v1. However, because she was stalling, Xiao Wu didn't attack after the match started. Wang Feng didn't hesitate. Against an agile soul master like Xiao Wu, he had a way to defeat her quickly. Seeing that Jiu Yi was rushing over, Xiao Wu also moved. However, she was still not as fast as Wang Feng. The two of them ran and chased. Soon, Wang Feng's hand reached out and was about to grab Xiao Wu's shoulder. However, Xiao Wu suddenly jumped up and did a 180-degree flip in the air, instantly arriving behind 9-1 open. There's a flaw. Xiao Wu didn't want to dodge at all. When he saw that the other party had revealed an opening, he would naturally attack without any hesitation. Although a 9-1 opening was strong, wasn't he looking down on her a little too much by attacking without using his soul bone? Xiao Wu put her hands on Wang Feng's shoulders and pulled him away. Then, she kicked at Wang Feng's lower back. It really was her first soul skill, waist bow. But just as her feet were about to land on his back, she saw countless black rays spreading from her hands to her arms. Crack! Almost instantaneously, the dark light Xianming thorn had formed an iron sheath around Xiao Wu's 2 arms. Xiao Wu's expression changed. Her hands seemed to have a few thousand kilograms of strength, so heavy that it was difficult for her to move. She was suddenly jolted awake. Jiu Yi didn't use his soul bone to attack. Instead, he used his soul bone to attach to my body when I touched him. Xiao Wu remembered that Tang San had said that a 9-1 opening soul bone weighed at least 4,000 kilograms. If such a heavy thing was suddenly placed on her body, it would be like a rabbit wearing an iron sheath armor. Not to mention waist bow. She wouldn't even be able to jump. Her hands felt like they were filled with lead, and she couldn't use her hands to support her waist. This caused her legs to be very weak when they landed on Wang Feng's back. Furthermore, when Xiao Wu's legs landed on Wang Feng's back, countless black rays instantly covered her legs. Dong! Xiao Wu's legs directly smashed into the arena. You! Xiao Wu looked at Jiu Yi angrily. At this moment, her hands and feet seemed to be covered with a layer of iron armor. In total, it was at least 4,000 kilograms, more than 2 tons. If it was Dai Mubai, she could still accept it. She had the soft-bone rabbit martial soul, and her physical fitness couldn't compare to Dai Mubai's. Suddenly, there was an additional 2 tons of weight, and she couldn't move for a while. Could it be that she had to teleport while carrying 2 tons of weight? You lost. Wang Feng let out a hoarse laugh. Xiao Wu lost the fastest. She lost even faster than the previous substitutes, because she didn't expect her opponent to defeat her in such a way. The audience below the arena obviously didn't expect it either. Tang San and the others were stunned. After all, Xiao was only ranked 40 and didn't have her 4-soul ring. Although she was very strong, Wang Feng had already thought of a way to restrain her. Don't you like to jump around? I made you unable to jump. You can't do anything about it, right? After Xiao Wu walked down, she was very unwilling. Suddenly, she could somewhat understand how Jiu Yikai felt when he knocked Wu Shuang out of the arena on the first day. Xiao Wu's defeat made Tang San and the others a little silent. Dreams were always full. Reality was always thin. Although they had come up with a strategy to fight Jiu Yikai, they thought that they would at least have a chance to win based on Tang San's analysis of Jiu Yikai. But they didn't expect that starting from the first match, Tai Long, for people in a row were almost defeated extremely quickly. I forgot a problem. Tang San shook his head and sighed. Although we are analyzing them, they also know us. Judging from these 4 matches, 9-1 Open clearly has a clear grasp of our strength, and can even discern where our weaknesses are. From Tai Long to Xiao Wu, especially Xiao Wu, they could obviously delay Jiu Yikai for a long time. But as soon as they revealed a slight flaw, Jiu Yikai instantly used a way that no one could imagine to make them lose their fighting ability. We have to be careful in every match. The 5th to fight. It was Ma Hongjun. Although Ma Hongjun was a long-range attacker, his speed and strength were not weak. It was just that his skills were more of a long-range attack. And he could fly. The rapid defeat of the first 4 matches forced Ma Hongjun to fight. This was because he could delay the time to the greatest extent because he had the temporary ability to fly. After the match began, Ma Hongjun directly used his 3rd soul skill, soaring phoenix wings, flew into the air, and then looked at Jiu Yikai with incomparable vigilance, to prevent the pitch-black bow from appearing in the other party's hand and shooting him down. The other party's bow, an arrow, could turn. Ma Hongjun remembered it very clearly. This person is full of holes. If I'm not careful, I'll fall into his trap. Ma Hongjun thought to himself, but if he wants to hit me with his bow and arrow, it won't be that simple. However, soon, what he wanted to see happened. A black light condensed in Jiu Yikai's hand, and a pitch-black bow suddenly appeared. The bowstring was pulled to a full moon, and 9 pitch-black arrows pierced through the clouds towards Ma Hongjun. End of chapter. Chapter 395. It's really coming? I won't fall for it. Ma Hongjun's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. Now that he was prepared, it was not impossible to dodge these 9 arrows, even though it was a little difficult. However, at this moment, all of a sudden, the 9 arrows that were coming at him at high speed changed. They merged into one and formed a big net in the air. Ma Hongjun was stunned. Damn, the arrows didn't change direction this time. They changed shape in the air. Fortunately, Ma Hongjun dodged in time. The big net did not wrap around his wings, but only his legs. Changing the arrow's direction involved changing the trajectory. Wang Feng needed to concentrate to do it, but to change the shape of the arrow, he only needed to control his soul power. This was another plan that Wang Feng had prepared when he fought against the Divine Wind team. However, without changing the arrow's direction, the sudden attack would end quickly. After all, even if the arrow changed shape in the air, it could be seen that it was dodged, and the arrow's direction could not be detected. Ma Hongjun's legs were tied up. His legs felt heavy, as if they were tied with hundreds of kilograms of iron. Seeing this, Ma Hongjun's heart could not help but sink. This 9-1 opening was really too cunning. Even if the big net did not completely tie him up, he would be in trouble next. Soon, the second wave of 9 arrows came and formed a big net in the air. This time, it only tied Ma Hongjun's waist. Then, until the 4th wave, Ma Hongjun's whole body was covered by the net formed by the mysterious dark spike. He was like a big bird carrying a huge rock that weighed thousands of kilograms. He could only fall to the ground with hatred. The Divine Wind team was sweating profusely. They were glad that they did not choose to fight 9-on-1. Otherwise, they would end up like this fatty. Although they were prepared for the arrows, it was difficult to dodge them when they suddenly changed shape in the air and formed a big net. However, Ma Hongjun lasted for 11 seconds, which was the most time for Wang Feng to use the mysterious dark spike. In Wang Feng's opinion, it was not bad. But for Tang San and the rest, the time difference was too big. They thought that with Fatty's flying ability and his defense against 9-on-1, he could at least hold on for 20 seconds or more. But he was still defeated quickly by the opponent. The 4 waves of arrows turned Fatty into a reticulated phoenix. When he landed, his entire body was covered by the dense black net formed by the mysterious underworld spikes. It looked somewhat comical. After Wang Feng retrieved the mysterious dark spike, Ma Hongjun cursed as he walked down. It seems to be far from what we expected. Oscar looked at the silent crowd and encouraged them. Don't be discouraged. There are still 3 more. However, it was only at this moment that everyone could feel the immense pressure of facing a 9-to-1 battle. Really, you really don't know what he will do. He was the 6th to enter the arena. Dai Mubai. After the match began, Dai Mubai's martial soul possessed his body and transformed into the Vajra White Tiger. However, he didn't use a long-range soul skill like his White Tiger's Fierce Light Wave or his White Tiger Meteor Shower. The former had a low hit rate and was a waste of time. The latter needed to store up power. Although it covered a large area and could hit 9 out of 10 times, the opponent would definitely be hit by it when the time came. In fact, in terms of strength, Dai Mubai was the most balanced of the 7. He had defense, tankiness, and offense. He had group attacks and could kite from afar. He was strong and had high defense. Although he was slower than agility-type soul masters, it was enough. His soul power was also the highest. However, he was also the easiest to hit. This was because he couldn't dodge Wang Feng's attacks. For example, Xiao Wu and Jing Ling, who were very agile, it was difficult to attack them directly. It was easy to waste time. However, Dai Mubai was different. White Tiger Protective Barrier. Seeing Wang Feng's attack, Dai Mubai didn't panic. He used his first soul skill and erected a protective barrier. This time, he didn't just defend one part of his body. As 9-to-1's attacks were too strange, Dai Mubai didn't know where he was going to hit. Hence, he covered his entire body and didn't need to conserve his soul power. Hence, Wang Feng didn't say anything. A long spear appeared. It was a rapid thrust. A simple and straightforward spear pierced through Dai Mubai's White Tiger Protective Barrier. His White Tiger Protective Barrier didn't just provide external defense. It also boosted his strength. Seeing that his barrier was pierced, Dai Mubai was shocked. Fortunately, he had rich battle experience and quickly dodged to the side. He was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. Their opponent's soul bone was far stronger than they had imagined. Even his White Tiger Protective Barrier couldn't block it. It seemed to have the ability to break through soul power barriers. Could it be that his opponent's soul bone is mixed with a special tool? Tang San was also shocked. Its penetrative power is so strong that Dai Mubai's White Tiger Protective Barrier couldn't block it at all. It's stronger than all the hidden weapons I have at this stage. Even the Dragon Beard Needle can't compare to it. What kind of soul bone could have such terrifying penetrative power? After the barrier was broken, the spear in Wang Feng's hand turned into a hammer. He quickly hammered Dai Mubai and sent him flying. However, Dai Mubai lasted for 15 seconds. He was considered to have reached the standard. He was the only one who completed the mission on time. The 7th person to go up was Tang San. Among them, Tang San was the most difficult to deal with. Wang Feng quietly looked at Tang San. Although the 2 of them had fought many times, Wang Feng didn't only use the mysterious dark spike. Especially at this level, he almost didn't use it. At this moment, Tang San was no longer the same as when he was young. Even if he couldn't use hidden weapons, his various Tang sect weapons, mysterious jade hands, controlling crane, capturing dragon, and ghost shadow perplexing track, had been practiced to a very high level. His martial soul, blue silvergrass, also had 4 soul rings and a 10,000-year soul ring. It was the strongest in a one-on-one battle. He had won all his previous matches. No one was a match for Tang San. The match started again. This was already the 8th match. The other teams were also dizzying. No other team could send 7 people from Shrek Academy consecutively. Furthermore, all 7 of them were defeated at an extremely fast speed. It was simply unbelievable. The style of 9-to-1 matches was also very similar to the promotion matches. There was only one word to describe it: straightforward. It was straightforward to fight, and it was also straightforward to watch. After the match began, Tang San didn't hesitate at all. The blue-silver grass in his hand glowed as he used Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. However, he didn't attack 9-to-1. Instead, he circled around the arena. Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track allowed him to be faster than ordinary Assault-type Soul Masters, but he was much slower than Agility-type Soul Masters like Xiao Wu and Zhu Qing. His advantage was that he could dodge the enemy's attacks. However, even Xiao Wu's speed couldn't compare to 9-to-1's, so he had no advantage at all. Moreover, his opponent's reaction was too fast. Whether it was bind or spiderweb, it was impossible to control him immediately. The instantaneous blue-silver cage wasn't tough enough and wasted soul power. However, Tang San quickly moved towards the arena and quickly covered the ground with a layer of blue-silver grass. End of chapter. Chapter 396. With a layer of blue-silver grass on the ground. As long as the other party dared to come, he could defend and counterattack, greatly increasing the release speed of the Bind Soul skill. Coupled with the Parasitic Soul skill, he could restrain the other party as quickly as possible and delay the other party. This tactic was very good. It could be said to be the best way to deal with 9 Ikai. However, as the blue-silver grass on the ground increased, 9 Ikai moved. First, a black light condensed in his left hand, and a long blade appeared. Then another long blade appeared in his right hand, but this blade was very big. It was similar to a crescent moon blade. Dual blades, one big and one small. But this was not enough. The black light condensed from 9 Ikai's mouth and formed a long blade again. 3 blades. Seeing this, everyone was slightly stunned. 9 Ikai wanted to split his attention into 3, directly control 3 blades, not giving Tang San any chance to bind with the blue-silver grass. Tang San was slightly startled. At this moment, 9 Ikai rushed towards him. The crescent moon blade in his right hand was directly supported on the ground as he rushed towards Tang San's blue-silver grass. The terrifying momentum caused the crescent moon blade to drag out countless sparks and chi on the ground, directly cutting the blue-silver grass on the ground into pieces. It swept across like a crushing machine. "Bind," Tang San said in a deep voice. The other party's physical fitness was far superior to his. He must not let the other party get close, even if he had Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track and Controlling Crane Capturing Dragon. The blue-silver grass bloomed with light, and countless pieces of blue-silver grass on the ground quickly attacked Wang Feng. Because they were cut, the release speed of the Bind Soul skill was greatly reduced. At this moment, the long blade in 9 Ikai's left hand and mouth suddenly flashed, instantly cutting these blue-silver grass vines that had not yet wrapped around his body into pieces. Spiderweb binding. Tang San condensed a ball of light in his hand and threw it towards 9 Ikai, forming a huge blue-silver grass spiderweb in the air. "Change," 9 Ikai muttered, and the long blade in his hand turned into countless broken blades, streaking across the air with dozens of black lights, instantly cutting the spider web into pieces. Then, it quickly formed a long blade in his hand. After a series of attacks, Tang San's attack did not have any effect and could not delay the other party's approach. "He's really strong." Tang San's heart sank. His opponent's usage of soul bones had reached the pinnacle. He was doing 3 things at the same time, using the momentum of his blade to break through the blue-silver grass that covered the ground, preventing him from quickly releasing his Bind Soul skill. Furthermore, the long blade in his hand and in his mouth could change forms, allowing him to easily cut through the blue-silver grass that was attacking him from all directions. Even if the binding spiderweb was successfully cast, the opponent would be able to change the form of a long blade in time, forming countless broken blades to cut through the large area of the spiderweb vine. To be honest, this was the first time Tang San faced a 9-to-1 situation. That tide-like pressure made him think of a six-ringed soul emperor. Although the abilities were completely different, the pressure was similar. Soon, Ji Kai, who had broken Tang San's attack, approached Tang San. Wang Feng knew very well that if he wanted to prevent Tang San from using the Tang Sect's martial arts techniques, he only needed to use his physical strength to crush him. To put it simply, he was faster and stronger than him. Tang San's Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track and Controlling Crane Capturing Dragon would not work. To put simply, he needed to use strength to break technique. Wang Feng threw a punch at Tang San. Tang San's eyes flashed with light. He could dodge this punch. He even wrapped himself in the blue-silver cage. But at this moment, Wang Feng withdrew the mysterious underworld spike, hid the mysterious underworld armor, and activated second gear. A huge airflow emerged from this punch. The speed of this punch increased by several times. Fast. Extremely fast. It was an extremely sudden acceleration. This punch was so fast that Tang San couldn't imagine it. It wasn't until he was sent flying by the punch and the blue-silver cage shattered that a thought flashed through his mind. Ji Kai was actually hiding his strength. As this thought flashed through his mind, Tang San's figure changed in the air and landed steadily on the stage, his face incomparably solemn. Just that punch, just now, the opponent did not use the power of a soul bone, but the speed was extremely fast. Although it was only an instant explosion, Tang San could still keenly feel that the opponent's strength had obviously increased by a level just now. "Brother, how are you?" Xiao Wu hurriedly walked over. Tang San's face was a little pale. He coughed a few times and said, "I'm fine, just some internal injuries." "What happened just now?" Dai Mubai asked in a deep voice. Tang San turned around and looked at Ji Kai in the arena. He slowly said, Ji Kai was still hiding his strength. I should have been able to block his punch just now, but the sudden increase in speed directly made me unable to react at all. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Hiding his strength? Hiding his strength? Fighting so many rounds? Ji Kai still had strength that he did not use? This was too exaggerated, wasn't it? Everyone looked at Ji Kai in the arena in shock. All along, the opponent's strength was very obvious. A mysterious soul bone that could change forms, comparable to a rank 60 soul warrior's physical fitness. They never thought that Ji Kai was still hiding his strength. How deep did he have to hide it? For a moment, a sense of fear arose in everyone's hearts. There's no need to be surprised. Tang San coughed a few more times. We miscalculated. Just as Brother Feng said, if we can hide our strength, why can't others? Everyone was silent. Yes, if they could hide their strength, why couldn't others? It was just that hiding it for so long without showing it was really terrifying. Then, is Zhu Qing still fighting? Xiao Wu asked. Yes, Zhu Qing said. Although she knew that she couldn't win, she wouldn't admit defeat just like that since all 7 of them had fought. However, seeing Zhu Qing come up, Wang Feng frowned. He thought to himself, what are you doing here? I can't do anything to you. Once I hold back, it will be easy for others to see through it. Just now, when he instantly activated second gear and defeated Tang San, Wang Feng was not afraid that the other party would recognize him because it was too short. At this moment, seeing Zhu Qing, Wang Feng felt that it was a little tricky. Firstly, it was already close to evening. Zhu Qing's strength would be greatly improved. If he wanted to defeat her quickly, it would be a little troublesome if he didn't activate second gear. Secondly, he couldn't hit her too hard, but he couldn't hit her too lightly either. Otherwise, he would definitely be suspected, especially Ning Rongrong. That girl was meticulous and sensitive. Even if Tang San and the others couldn't detect it, she would definitely be able to. Looking at Zhu Qing opposite him, Wang Feng hesitated for a moment. At this moment, Zhu Qing quickly possessed her martial soul. At night, the Yue elf would emit a faint layer of moonlight which was very beautiful. After being possessed by the martial soul, Zhu Zhuqing's entire body seemed to be covered with a layer of moonlight. Her charm would rise to another level, but her strength would also be stronger. Because it was the last battle, and she knew that the other party was hiding his strength, Zhu Zhuqing didn't choose to drag it out, so she planned to attack directly. It didn't matter even if she lost. Let's continue at night. Please count the votes into this chapter. Chapter 397. The moonlight was pleasant. In such an environment, Zhu Zhuqing's current strength could be said to be the strongest among the 7 of them, without any hesitation. Her speed was naturally the same. Compared to the previous few people's defensive counterattacks, Zhu Zhuqing directly took the initiative to attack. Like an aurora in the night, Zhu Zhuqing quickly attacked Wang Feng. Nine's attack style was too strange. Even Tang Xin could not guess what kind of attack he would use. Zhu Zhuqing naturally could not guess, but she did not need to guess. She just needed to attack. The purplish gold claws were like electric arcs, flashing across Wang Feng's line of sight. Wang Feng gently moved his body and easily dodged Zhu Zhuqing's attack. However, Zhu Zhuqing did not give Wang Feng any chance to breathe. She attacked Wang Feng without stopping. The purplish gold light flickered between the two. The terrifying attack's speed dazzled the team members. Could it be that 9 open soul power is somewhat exhausted? Below the stage, Xiao Wu said in surprise, "Why does he keep dodging? He's not even using his soul bone." However, the 7 of them had spent more than a minute on Nine's attack. Although it had exceeded Tang San's original estimate, Nine's strength was still hidden when he fought with Tang San. In other words, he should have exceeded Tang San's estimate. It was impossible for him to be exhausted now. At this time, Xiao Wu could see that Nine's did not seem to fight back. Could it be that he did not have a chance to attack because of Zhu Qing's high-speed attacks? No, the two of them seemed to have fought to the edge of the stage. At this time, Tang Xin seemed to have discovered something. Zhu Zhuqing's series of attacks were dodged by Nine's, but the two of them were fighting too fast. Unknowingly, they had already reached the edge of the stage. Dark Moon Stab, another round of attacks. Zhu Zhuqing frowned slightly. Her claws were like sharp blades, attacking the opponent. Why did Nine's not fight back? Her figure seemed to teleport, bringing about a series of afterimages. Her ghostly figure was difficult for the two to detect. Whoosh! At this moment, Wang Feng made his move. His hand moved like lightning and directly grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's wrist. Zhu Zhuqing was stunned. In the next moment, Wang Feng pulled with his palm and moved behind Zhu Zhuqing. With a gentle push of his other hand, a powerful force directly pushed Zhu Zhuqing into the arena. He was about to be pushed off the stage. Zhu Zhuqing reacted quickly as well. The moment Zhu Zhuqing was caught by Jiui Kai, she immediately used her 4th soul skill, Moon Shadow Doppelganger. The person who was pushed out was a clone. As for the main body, he appeared behind Wang Feng. Hidden Moon Slash. Zhu Zhuqing was already very familiar with using her 3rd soul skill after Shadow Clone Technique. She seemed to have guessed that 9 odds wanted to use this method to push her into the arena. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he used Shadow Clone Technique to deal a fatal blow to his opponent. Under the moonlight, every single one of her soul skills was greatly amplified. The Hidden Moon Slash with her claws was almost impossible for her opponent to dodge. But at this moment, a black light condensed behind Jiui Kai, and a pitch-black shield instantly appeared. Boom! Zhu Zhuqing's attack directly hit the shield. In the next moment, a huge force was reflected from the shield formed by the mysterious underworld spike. Zhu Zhuqing's entire body was sent flying. The mysterious underworld shield formed by the mysterious underworld spike was similar to the mysterious underworld armor in that it also had a reflection effect. Zhu Zhuqing's attack was clearly a sure kill attack, and she didn't hold back at all. Even Dai Mubai wouldn't be able to withstand 150% of the recoil. Not to mention Zhu Zhuqing's soft body. She was like a flower that had been blown away as she was sent flying from the arena. Wang Feng's eyes flashed, and the mysterious underworld shield transformed into countless black lights that formed a long rod. With a whoosh, it flew over as if it was going to give her the final blow. Although Zhu Zhuqing felt that her body was a little weak from the shock, she could still dodge this kind of attack. She gently dodged to the side and stepped on the long rod with the tip of her foot. She barely managed to stabilize her body and then landed steadily on the ground. Seeing this, Tang San and the others immediately surrounded her. Zhu Qing, that was close. Fortunately, you reacted just now. Otherwise, you would have fallen to the ground. Xiao Wu heaved a sigh of relief. When she saw Zhu Zhuqing being sent flying in the air, she knew that she would definitely fall to the ground. Fortunately, 9 odds wanted to use the long rod to give her the final blow in order to completely knock her out of the arena. However, Zhu Zhuqing narrowly dodged it and used the force to stabilize her body in the air to land safely on the ground. This was also what everyone was thinking. Yes, Zhu Zhuqing nodded. A hint of doubt flashed in her eyes as she glanced at 9 odds in the arena. Actually, with the force that she felt just now, although it didn't seem like she would fly out of the arena, Zhu Zhuqing could feel that she would definitely fly out. Could it be that he didn't even calculate the force of the backlash from his soul bone? There was no need for him to use the last rod to give me the final blow. It was more like he purposely let himself have a point of support in the air so that he could use the force to stabilize his body and land steadily on the ground. Tang San and the others probably couldn't feel how strong the backlash was. However, Zhu Zhuqing didn't think too much about it. After all, he had already fought 7 rounds in a row. Perhaps he was a little tired? Zhu Zhuqing was a little puzzled as she thought to herself. At this point, the battle between Purple Star College and Shrek Academy was completely over. The result could be said to be within everyone's expectations, but the process was far beyond everyone's expectations. 9-1 Open's various unconstrained attacks were simply eye-opening. It was like a magnificent show. This match was over, and the advancement round was about to end. However, the person who left the deepest impression on everyone was undoubtedly 9 odds. However, there were also people who were thinking about a question: why didn't 9 odds release his martial soul until now? The 3 people on the main stage were all thinking about this question. Whether it was the Snowy Night Emperor, Bishop Sakas, or Ning Fengji, they were all guessing. However, no matter how they guessed, they couldn't guess it. They would probably only see it in the finals. After defeating Zhu Zhuqing, Wang Feng quickly walked down from the arena. He originally wanted to lure Zhu Zhuqing to the edge of the arena and directly push her down. He didn't expect his opponent to react so quickly and use shadow doppelgangers to attack him. Wang Feng could only use his mysterious underworld armor to form a mysterious underworld shield to block the hidden moon slash. However, it was inevitable that Zhu Zhuqing's defense would be weakened by the backlash. In order to prevent Zhu Zhuqing from falling to the ground, Wang Feng could only use his final attack to create the illusion that he was going to attack Zhu Zhuqing. He wanted to act as a springboard for Zhu Zhuqing to stabilize her body in the air so that she could land gently on the ground. This way, no one would suspect anything. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. Just like that, the final day arrived. It was Shrek versus God Wind Academy. This battle didn't seem to be out of Wang Feng's expectations. It could even be said that it was somewhat similar to the original work. Chapter 398. Feng Xiaodian wanted to challenge Tang San one-on-one because of Huo Wu. He then used his self-created soul skill, the Gale Demon Wolf's 36 consecutive slashes, to attack Tang San. However, Tang San used the Clear Sky Hammer and the Chaotic Splitting Wind Hammer technique to break it. Wang Feng took a few glances. The Gale Demon Wolf's 36 consecutive slashes was an imitation of the Chaotic Splitting Wind Hammer technique. Naturally, it couldn't beat the real thing. However, Wang Feng felt that Feng Xiaodian was quite impressive. To be able to create the Gale Demon Wolf's 36 consecutive slashes, he felt that the reversal of heaven and earth that he had slowly comprehended through the Chaotic Splitting Wind Hammer technique was nothing. With the appearance of Tang San's Clear Sky Hammer, It could be considered as the final spark in the qualifier round. After all, he had twin martial souls. Wang Feng actually felt that little 3 was a little rash. However, after thinking about it, he had already lost to him. If he lost to Divine Wind, Shrek Academy would definitely suffer a blow. Therefore, Tang Xin wasn't willing to admit defeat. Maybe he had thought of using the Clear Sky Hammer when he fought with him. It was just that he didn't have any chance. The appearance of the Clear Sky Hammer caused all the Academy teams, including the Snowy Knight Emperor and Bishop Sakas, to focus their attention on Tang San. Even the limelight of the 9-1 opener was overshadowed. After all, he had twin martial souls. From this, it could be seen how important martial souls were in the Douluo world. Not to mention the Clear Sky sect, which represented the first of the 3 upper sects. The Clear Sky Hammer, which was known as the strongest tool martial soul in the continent. Wang Feng watched quietly. He didn't feel anything. This was something that should have happened. It didn't change because of his arrival. Although Wang Feng had changed a lot of things, there were some things that were not affected by him. In fact, Little 3 felt that he had some ability to protect himself now that he was exposed. This was because he had gathered a lot of experts around him. He didn't need to worry about others coveting him. However, in reality, it would still attract trouble. Just like that, the qualifier round ended. Purple Star College obtained the first place in the Heaven-Do Empire's competition zone. The 9-1 opener's name would spread from here to even further places. At the same time, Shrek Academy was second only to Purple Star College. Coupled with the fact that they had twin martial souls, Tang San, Shrek Academy's fame was not much inferior to Purple Star College. After all, the Purple Star College only had 9-1 opener was. However, compared to Tang Wulin's twin martial souls, it was obviously more surprising and curious. Furthermore, everyone in Shrek Academy was equally powerful. After the qualifier round's words, the Snowy Knight Emperor to the gave a reward. After that, there was the tournament round. The finals were not held in the 2 empires, but in the Martial Spirit Great Hall of the Martial Spirit City. Hall of Sand was Hall. City was the Tang Hall. It was located at the border between the 2 empires and was not under the jurisdiction of either empire. One of the 2 most majestic halls on the continent, the Pope's Palace, was located here. Martial Spirit City was about 20 days away from Heaven-Do City, and there were 33 teams in total. There were 15 teams from both empires and 3 seeded teams. The competition was even shorter. It was an elimination round. There was no point ranking. The Snowy Knight Emperor wouldn't be traveling with the team this time. So Shueqing was the representative to lead the 15 teams from Heaven-Do City, as well as the 500 royal knights that accompanied them to Martial Spirit City. However, Martial Spirit Hall placed great importance on this competition. Apart from setting up a venue in Martial Spirit Hall for the competition, they also issued a decree that no noble soul masters were allowed to watch the competition. Honestly speaking, Wang Feng knew something was wrong when he heard the decree. Maybe it was because of the 4 soul bones, or maybe it was because of other reasons. Wang Feng couldn't care less. At this time, he was in a luxurious carriage and was discussing with everyone. The journey was long. As a team from the Heaven-Do Empire, the Snowy Knight Emperor would not let the 15 teams travel such a long distance. They would be exhausted by the time they reached Martial Spirit City. How would they still have the strength to compete? Hence, he prepared 15 luxurious carriages. The carriages were equipped with special soul tools to reduce vibrations. It was very comfortable. However, one person was missing from Shrek Academy's carriage. Grandmaster. Wang Feng guessed where Grandmaster had gone. Although the plot here was towards the end of the original novel, Wang Feng's memory was very vague. However, Wang Feng did not forget the relationship between Grandmaster and a certain person. Why did Grandmaster leave without telling us? Xiao Wu sat beside Tang San and whispered, "Godmother has been very angry recently. It must be because of Grandmaster." Wang Fengxin said, "Lu Erlong must be unhappy that Grandmaster went to look for his old lover to talk about their relationship. Actually, Wang Feng felt that Grandmaster was not strong enough. If he was a title Duo, Lu Erlong would be obedient no matter how angry she was. It was hard to be a man. If I were to guess, Grandmaster must have secretly gone to look for his lover. Ning Rongrong whispered, maybe it's a good female friend. Otherwise, Teacher Erlong would not be so irritable. Wang Feng, you clever little brat. You can really guess it. Wang Fengxin could not help but laugh. Ning Rongrong's guess was really accurate. Could it be that this was a woman's natural ability? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. After thinking about it, they felt that it was quite reasonable. Ahem, Rongrong, don't casually talk about teachers' matters. Wang Feng glared at Ning Rongrong. I will listen to you, I know. Ning Rongrong blinked her eyes. I heard that this year's Martial Spirit Palace's Golden Generation all received the purple record badge. Do you know what it is? I heard from the other students that. Dai Mubai suddenly asked. You were told by Shui you are, right? Oscar clicked his tongue. Mubai, you two are really together? Dai Mubai blushed and nodded slightly. Everyone immediately sighed. I heard from teacher that the purple record badge requires one to reach rank 50 in the Martial Spirit Palace before the age of 25. It was specially issued by His Majesty the Pope. It symbolizes the strongest talent in the Martial Spirit Palace's younger generation. Tang San and Wang Feng looked at each other. This news was actually from Douluo, and these three are the strongest in the Martial Spirit Palace's younger generation. Their soul power is around rank 55. The youngest is only 23 years old. After listening to Tang San, the others could not help but gasp. Isn't this too strong? Ma Hongju murmured. After the advancement competition, they had all broken through to rank 42 and were close to rank 43. It was an extraordinary speed. But if they were to fight with this kind of strength, probably only Tang San would have chance. Oh, and Wang Feng. Even Dai Mubai, who was level 45, was 10 levels lower than them. With a gap of 10 ranks, they were called the Golden Generation. Their martial spirits must not be bad. End of chapter. Chapter 399. Even 9. One won't be able to defeat him, right? Oscar pinched his chin. If it's a team battle, although we haven't fought with 9. 1, he's a rank 55 Soul King. What a monster. It was indeed very abnormal. Even if they took immortal medicine and cultivated normally, they wouldn't be inferior or even surpass him when they reached that age. But the 7 of them had taken immortal medicine. Not necessarily. Xiao Ao, have you forgotten that 9? One has never released his martial soul. Tang Sen shook his head. In the advancement match, he still only used his soul bone. Other than when he fought with me, he didn't reveal any information about his hidden strength. He hid it too well. I have a vague feeling that 9, one might really be able to create a miracle this year. But our Shrek Academy can't fall behind. We still have a great chance. Tang San's words gave everyone a lot of confidence. I have twin martial souls and 8 spider spear, Rongrong's 9 treasure star glazed pagoda, Oscar's Jinhua sausage, Zhuqing's dark moon elf, Fatty's fire phoenix, Mubai's white tiger, and Brother Feng. Even if Brother Feng doesn't make a move, he can still use martial soul fusion skills with Zhuqing and Fatty. We might be able to defeat them. Tang San continued. Everyone nodded again. By the way, what if they also have martial soul fusion skills or even soul bones? Oscar asked. Although the reward is also soul bones, they're the golden generation of the Martial Spirit Palace. How can it not have soul bones? A human body has a total of 6 soul bones. This question hit the nail on the head. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. Soul bones were extremely beneficial to soul masters. Although the Martial Spirit Palace took out 4 soul bones, how could the golden generation that they nurtured with all the resources of the Martial Spirit Palace not have soul bones? For example, the academies that Wang Feng encountered now, Tinshui, Weijia, and Umbra all had soul bones. Wang Feng felt that it was impossible for the seeded team of the Martial Spirit Palace to not have soul bones. It was hard to say about martial soul fusion skills. Although soul bones were extremely rare, with the status of the Martial Spirit Palace, they would definitely give the golden generation a piece, even if it was just one. Regarding this question, Tang Sen couldn't give an accurate answer. Actually, you guys can try a 7-man combination technique, Wang Feng said after thinking for a while. Everyone was stunned. 7 people combined? Of course, it's not a martial soul fusion skill, Wang Feng said. Instead, it's an attack executed by the 7 of them using their martial spirits. Do you still remember the Blazing Academy's special combined technique? Everyone nodded. That's actually a kind of 7-man combination technique. It gathers the strength of 7 people into one point, Wang Feng said with a smile. Do you still remember how strong Huo Wushuang was on the first day? Xiao San, do you have the confidence to win? Tang Sen thought for a moment and shook his head. Although I'm immune to fire, Huo Wushuang's soul power had already reached rank 50 at that time. His entire body's attributes had greatly increased. Unless I used the 8 spider spear and the clear sky hammer, I wouldn't have a chance of winning. The 8 spider spear and the Haotian hammer were Tang San's best weapons. From this, one could imagine how powerful Huo Wushuang was back then. Yes, Wang Feng said in a deep voice. You can try to gather the strength of 7 people into one point. As for who this point is, it depends on your cooperation. Wang Feng finished his words. They were all dumbfounded. Yes, since the Blazing Academy could use soul skills to create such a special method, why couldn't they? Gathering everyone's strength into one point, with a strength of 7 people, not to mention a rank 55, even a rank 60 might not be impossible to defeat. This combination technique needs to be practiced. It's not like a martial soul fusion skill, which is full of stability. Wang Feng continued. Master left quickly, so I'll leave this matter to you for the time being. Although there's still more than 20 days before the Martial Spirit Palace, you're not strangers. Shrek 7 Monsters is already a team that has experienced many battles and has a tacit understanding with each other. It's not difficult to research this 7-man combination technique. Good luck. Of course, Wang Feng wouldn't participate. At that time, he would participate in the competition as a 9-to-1, so he wouldn't have a chance. Wang Feng's words seemed to have opened a door for the 7 of them. If they could really create a 7-man combination technique, it might be possible. Just like that, along the way, the 7 of them discussed the 7-man combination technique as they cultivated. Wang Feng would sometimes take advantage of the rest of the team to go to Purple Star College's carriage. In contrast, the Purple Star College's carriage seemed very cold, with only Dean Farron in it. How many days have we been walking? Wang Feng asked softly. Almost half of it. It's been 10 days, right? Dean Farron yawned. 10 days? Wang Feng frowned and vaguely remembered something. He opened the curtains and shook his head. The wind here is very noisy. The road they took was a main road. Although there were various mountains and forests nearby, the route was clear. Don't worry, with 500 Royal Knights, are you still worried about small thieves attacking us? Dean Farron said with a smile. With that, Dean Farron walked out of the carriage and looked at the Royal Knights who were wearing armor and had a cold expression. The strength of these Royal Knights was very high. Basically, they were all above rank 30, and there was no lack of soul ancestors above rank 40. The most important thing was that they were an army. The army was neat and disciplined. Wang Feng could feel that their combat strength was not ordinary from the fluctuations on their bodies. Small thieves. Wang Feng then thought of something and couldn't help but frown. They can't be here, right? Wang Feng looked at the surrounding terrain and realized that their road was between 2 small hills and was surrounded by dense forests. At this moment, the forest suddenly trembled. Countless birds flew out from the forest. Gusts of hurricanes seemed to be blowing down from the mountains. Enemy attack, be alert. Almost at the moment when Wang Feng sensed it, the captain of the Royal Knights in front suddenly shouted. Obviously, these elite soldiers were also very sharp. There really are small thieves. Dean Farron was dumbfounded. He just said it casually. Be careful. Wang Fengxin sneered. Small thieves? The people from the Martial Spirit Palace were not small thieves. Moreover, their title Dalu would appear later. Wang Feng still had some impression that Ning Fengji would appear with the sword Dalu and bone Douluo. Even if he didn't remember, Wang Feng could guess that Xue Qinghe was Ning Fengji's disciple and his daughter was in the team. How could he not be worried? However, even so, Wang Feng was still very vigilant. Because of his appearance, the Martial Spirit Palace was very likely to put his name on the list of people to kill to prevent any accidents. End of chapter. Chapter 400. After all, with his performance in the qualifiers and promotion competition, as long as the Martial Spirit Hall wasn't stupid, they would list him as a target to kill. Ning Fengji had nothing to do with Jiu Kai. They would save Tang, San, and the others, but not him. Why don't I disappear for a while? Wang Fengxin thought. However, Wang Feng frowned as he looked between the two mountains. Right at this moment, rumbling sounds came from the mountainside. Huge rocks with burning flames could be seen rolling down the mountainside. They were densely packed like a meteor shower. This terrain was too bad. Formation. All students, get out of the carriage and rush out. At the front, the commander of the Royal Knights shouted loudly. After he finished speaking, he quickly ordered the 500 soldiers to form 2 rows and block the flaming boulders that rolled down the 2 hills. It had to be said that these 500 soldiers were really strong. They released their martial souls and cooperated well. They directly formed 2 rows of iron walls and sent all the rolling, flaming rocks flying. All the students of the 15 academies got out of the carriage and maintained their respective academies' formation. They quickly rushed forward and left this path. The flaming rocks had been temporarily blocked by the Royal Knights. But many people seemed to have expected something. Just as they were about to rush out of the pincer attack of the 2 hills, countless black-clothed men took advantage of the terrain and rushed towards the carriages of the 15 academies. These black-clothed men looked like bandits, but if one thought about it carefully, it was impossible for them to be bandits. This was because they were well-trained, agile, and had high-level soul masters. However, the Heaven Do Empire Academy was not to be trifled with either. Although the 500 Royal Knights were blocking the flaming rocks at the back, there were also 15 teachers from the 15 academies, all of whom were ranked 60 or 70 soul masters, as well as the 15 most elite warriors of the Heaven Do Empire. If they wanted to attack them, even if they used the terrain, it would be very difficult to succeed. But was that the truth? Not really, because these black-clothed men were obviously not ordinary thieves. There were at least 1,500 of them. According to Wang Feng's estimation, there were at least 100 soul masters, perhaps not as many as the academies combined. However, they had at least 1,000 helpers. With each soul master and 4 or 5 people, they attacked one of the academies. These elite students were caught off guard. There was no helping it. Although the students of the 15 academies were all elites, they were all elites. However, not many people had seen blood before. There were very few people like Shrek, who had been thrown into the great arena of souls long ago and had actually killed people. For a moment, more than 10 academies were completely at a disadvantage. Most importantly, these men in black were too experienced. They clearly knew that most of the students in these academies were inexperienced. Even though Zhang Xian was clearly very strong, he subconsciously did not dare to use too much force, thinking that he was still in the midst of a competition. As a result, the attacks that landed on their bodies were not fatal, giving them a great opportunity to escape. As a result, these academies were temporarily forced into a passive state. Furthermore, there were high-ranked soul masters among the black-robed men. However, there weren't many of them, only a dozen or so. They were all around level 60, and they started fighting the teachers of the academy. As for the rest, they could only rely on the students to solve it. For Shrek Academy, this kind of battlefield was incomparably easy. As a team that had already experienced blood and slaughter, the 7 people cooperated well. With Tang San as the center, they surrounded Ning Rongrong and Oscar in a circle. Tang San's hidden weapons were also the main lethality. In this case, the hidden weapons in the hands of Tang San's 7 people were simply more powerful than any soul skill. Within a range of 30 to 40 meters around them, almost a vacuum zone was formed. Coupled with Tang San's powerful control, almost no black-robed man could get close to them. Where did these black-robed men come from? There are so many of them. Should we go help the other academies? Xiao Wu gently wiped the sweat from her forehead. The sweat didn't come from exhaustion, but from nervousness and excitement. Because for them, it was the first time they had encountered such a situation similar to a battlefield. Moreover, compared to the great arena of souls, killing people in this situation could stimulate the adrenaline of the human body. Fortunately, they already had experience and could slowly calm down. Third Brother's hidden weapons are too strong in this kind of battle. Ma Hongjun looked at the other academies. They are still in a bitter battle. Most of the black-robed men on our side have been cleaned up. Tang San had the most hidden weapons on him, but the 7 of them also had hidden weapons. Moreover, they were highly toxic. Once they were hit, even if they didn't die, they were almost crippled. The other more than 10 academies had not yet rushed out of the encirclement of these black-robed men. Hey, look over there. At this time, Ma Hongjun suddenly said in surprise. Several people were taken aback, looked in the direction of the voice, and couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. In the distance, there was the location of Purple Star College. But the scene was very terrifying. In the center, there was only one black-robed man standing in the wind. It was Jiu Kai. However, there were countless weapons around him. Cold light. Every time Jiu Kai took a step, countless weapons would shoot out in all directions like thousands of arrows, attacking in unison. Each wave of attack would reap a large number of lives. Furthermore, when those weapons attacked, they would turn into countless black rays of light. With Tang San's purple demon eyes, he could finally see a little clearly that those were black thorns as thin as hair. Swish, swish, swish. The black rays fell from the sky, and within 100 meters of him, not a single black-robed man could get close to him. And every time the black rays completely fell and passed through the enemy's body, they would quickly turn into 4 spear blades, following different trajectories and continuing to reap the remaining enemies. From afar, these 4 spears seemed to have a life of their own, automatically attacking the enemy. Except for Purple Star College's area, all the black-robed men from the other academies were completely wiped out. Even Soul Masters were completely unable to resist. Even if they could resist the spear blades would turn into countless black rays, directly turning the enemy into a honeycomb. Then, they would quickly corrode into a pool of corpse water. Every second, at least 10 people died under this attack. So strong. At this moment, not only Shrek Academy, but the other academies were also stunned. Such a gorgeous, dazzling, yet extremely terrifying and extremely efficient killing method. Is this the strength of Jiu Ikai's soul bone? Ma Hongjun shuddered. During the competition, who knows how much he held back against us? If he really used it, I'm afraid we would be long dead, right? His soul bone seems to have a strong poison. It can corrode soul masters into a pool of corpse water in just a few seconds. End of chapter. Chapter 401. This person's soul power is really unfathomable. Tang San shook his head and said, "Those black lights are hair-thin black thorns. Using soul bones requires soul power, and there are at least thousands of black thorns. To be able to control them so willfully, I really suspect that he is not only at rank 45. Moreover, his soul bones are too efficient, even more effective than my hidden weapons. Because those black thorns can be retracted and combined, while hidden weapons are consumables. He can also use his soul power to control them. This kind of killing weapon was too fatal for low-level soul masters. The most important thing was its high efficiency, because it could be controlled to ensure that the attack would not miss. Those black thorns are not afraid of the shield formed by low-level soul masters. It was indeed a massacre. Wang Feng didn't feel anything now. He didn't even need to open his eyes. He just closed them. He directly relied on his perception. The killing effect of the mysterious dark thorns in such a small-scale battle was too terrifying. If it was a large-scale battle, needless to say, the efficiency would be the most terrifying with the Ice Fire Furious Lotus. They don't seem to be targeting me. Wang Fengxin was very vigilant as he sensed the surroundings. He knew that these black-clothed men were just cannon fodder for this attack. Soul Masters above rank 70 must still be around. However, after sensing for a while, Wang Feng still didn't notice them. He couldn't help but be surprised. Is it that embarrassing for me to open a 9-1? Wang Fengxin thought. They actually didn't come to kill me. He thought that since he had shown enough strength in the preliminaries and the promotion matches, the Martial Spirit Palace should have put him as their first target, shouldn't they? At this moment, Wang Feng slightly glanced at the place where Tang San was and couldn't help but be surprised. At some point in time, Tang San and the others had been surrounded by several powerful soul cultivators. I haven't settled the score with you for you. Are you looking down on me? Wang Fengxin couldn't help but laugh. The Martial Spirit Palace is determined to kill Tang San and the others. Is it just because they have twin martial souls? Thinking of this, Wang Feng walked into the dark, quickly took off his black robe and mask, and walked towards Tang San. On the other side, Soul Douluo. There were at least 2 Soul Douluo, 3 Soul Sages, and 4 Soul Emperors. Cold sweat appeared on Tang San's forehead, just when everyone was about to kill all the black-robed men. For people suddenly appeared. These 4 people exuded an extremely powerful pressure. 2 of the Soul Sages were already fighting Flender and Lu Erlong, while the last one was fighting Zhao Wuji and Qinming. The remaining 2 Soul Douluo and 4 Soul Emperors attacked Tang San and the others. Quickly finish off this brat with twin martial spirits, and then quickly finish off that 9 open. A black-robed Soul Douluo said in a sinister voice. The other one was slightly shorter and had a cold look in his eyes as he nodded slightly. Their mission was to kill this kid with twin martial spirits. It would be best if they could kill both of them. Apart from that, he couldn't let go of that 9-1 chance either. These 2 were of equal priority. However, the information they got was that Tang San's side was weaker, so they planned to concentrate their forces and kill him in one fell swoop instead of spreading out. After all, they had to kill the weak first before killing the strong. Therefore, Wang Feng was wrong. Looking at Tang San and the others, the black-robed Soul Douluo laughed cruelly. His martial soul was directly attached to his body, and a pair of golden wings appeared behind his back. 8 soul rings were extremely dazzling. It was a golden eagle martial soul. At the same time, the Soul Douluo beside him also quickly released his martial soul. His body grew rapidly, and a huge earthen yellow centipede shadow appeared on his body. He also had 8 soul rings, and his martial soul was the earthen yellow centipede. Both of their soul rings were 2 yellow, 3 purple, and 3 black. It was a very good soul ring configuration. Following this, both of them didn't hesitate at all. Their 7th soul rings lit up. The 7th soul ring of a B-soul was the most core skill, martial soul, true body. Once it was used, it meant that they were absolutely serious. It was obvious that these 2 were determined to kill and didn't want to give their opponents any chance. Similarly, with the 2 of them in the lead, the other 4 Soul Emperors surrounded Tang San and the others from 4 different directions. The 6 soul rings on their bodies were 4 different martial souls, and they were all emitting terrifying light. One of the Soul Emperor's martial soul was the control-type Black Gold Willow. It was a special martial soul that was extremely hard and naturally resistant to fire. Why do these people want to kill us? Ma Hongjuan's face was pale. They even used their martial soul true bodies right from the start. They didn't give us any chance at all. A tall tree attracts the wind. Tang San gritted his teeth. Knowing that what Dagu said that day had come true, Tang San was very suspicious. These people were most likely sent by the Martial Soul Hall. Just look at their strength, and he would know. What kind of power would be able to mobilize so many high-ranked soul masters? And they even attacked the Heavendo Empire's team members, and they were on their way to the finals? Soul Douluo, what do we kill them? Tang Sin muttered. It was impossible even if he used Yama's invitation. There was no chance. The other party had used their martial soul true bodies. He didn't even have the chance to use his hidden weapons. In the face of such a huge gap in strength, the 7 of them couldn't defeat such a lineup no matter how heaven-defying they were. Not to mention the 2 Soul Emperors. They were no match for the 4 Soul Emperors. Go! The Golden Eagle Soul, Douluo, shouted coldly. Several people rushed towards Tang San and the others. Several resplendent rays of light immediately lit up. The black gold willow gave birth to a black gold willow that filled the sky and rushed towards Tang San and the others. 2 of the Soul Emperors had beast martial souls. One was a single-horned rhinoceros, and the other was a single-horned horse. The last one had a long-range silver arrow martial soul. The golden eagle soul Dalu even flew up. The soul rings on his body shone, and he swooped down towards Tang San's position. The other yellow earth centipede soul, Dalu, actually burrowed into the ground. He disappeared. In an instant, countless lights seemed to want to devour the 7 of them. Don't panic. Break out from the side of the silver spear martial soul. Tang San said calmly. He's a long-range attacker. It's best to break through. Everyone nodded. Even at this moment, they didn't panic. They still hoped to find a chance to survive. However, the yellow earth centipede soul suddenly burrowed out from the side of the silver arrow soul master and spat out a mouthful of stinky poisonous fog towards the 7 of them. He didn't give them any chance to escape. At this moment, a pitch-black light slowly lit up around the 7 of them. A huge black light barrier appeared around the 7 of them, like a glass ball. Boom! Several soul skills exploded and bombarded the black light barrier, but it didn't break. The 2 beast martial soul emperors were even sent flying by the huge force. At the same time, a faint voice sounded. Why don't a few of you try to kill me? End. Continue tomorrow. This chapter ends. Chapter 402. The pitch-black light seemed to be able to resist everything in the world. The calm voice sounded very familiar to the 7 of them. The 7 of them turned around and saw a young man holding a black lotus with destructive light in his hand. He looked very calm as he slowly walked over. It was Wang Feng. When they were resting earlier, Wang Feng said that he wanted to take a stroll outside. They didn't expect such a sudden change. The 7 of them didn't have time to search for him, so they rushed forward. Ning Rongrong wanted to find Wang Feng and leave together. However, Flender and Lu Erlong wanted to leave first. They said that Wang Feng would follow them. The reason was simple. He was stronger than the 7 of them. If something happened to him, the 7 of them would be doomed. Hence, they didn't leave the carriage with Wang Feng. Until now, Wang Feng had appeared. It's Brother Feng's black lotus. Tang San heaved a sigh of relief. The slightly translucent black light shield seemed to be even more powerful than the last time it appeared. All 7 of them clearly remembered that it was this pitch-black light barrier that had blocked the Titan giant ape's attack back in the Great Stardow Forest. Wang Feng was only rank 30 then and didn't have his 3rd soul ring. But now, as far as they knew, Wang Feng was level 45. The 7 of them were astonished as they watched the 2 Soul Emperors fly out. The 2 Soul Emperors weren't the only ones who were sent flying. There were also black gold willows and several silver arrows. Of course, the 2 Soul Emperors were the worst off. The defensive power released by the Black Lotus not only had the ability to reflect attacks, but it also had the same defensive weakening effect as the mysterious underworld armor. Wang Feng, you're finally here. Ning Rongrong ran over as she watched Wang Feng walk into the light barrier. She sobbed, I thought I was going to die. She wasn't the only one. The rest of them felt the same way. My heart was about to jump out. Ma Hongjun patted his chest. He was sweating profusely. Fortunately, I managed to block it. Captain, your Black Lotus defensive power has become stronger. It can even block so many attacks. The 4 Soul Emperors weren't the only ones who were sent flying earlier. There were also 2 Soul Douluo. However, the Golden Eagle Soul Douluo and the Yellow Earth Centipede Soul Douluo suffered far less damage than the two unicorn soul emperors. After all, they were soul Douluo. This was especially so for the golden eagle soul Douluo. Even though she had been knocked back from her dive, she was still able to stabilize herself. She stared at Wang Feng with a sinister look in her eyes. The other yellow earth centipede spat out a poisonous mist, but was directly isolated by the black light barrier. Big Brother Feng, how long can you last? Tang Sen asked in a deep voice. The crisis was temporarily averted. After all, there were two soul Douluo, and they wouldn't be able to hold on for long if they unleashed a barrage of attacks. They had to think of a countermeasure. This was also a question that everyone was concerned about. Back then, the Black Lotus had been able to block the Titan giant ape for 2 seconds. Now, it should be able to last longer, right? Block. Wang Feng was surprised. What did I say? I was going to block it? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. As an expert, how can you be a coward? Wang Feng laughed and said, since these people want to kill us, how can we not make them stay? After rushing over, Wang Feng didn't plan to hide in the Black Lotus protective barrier. He only said that he wanted to resolve the crisis for Tang San and the others. You want to kill them? Zhu Qing asked. Everyone felt their backs go numb, and they were a little confused. What else can I do? Wang Feng nodded. I already have a countermeasure. They won't be able to break through the Black Lotus's defenses for a while. The more they fight, the more tired they will be. Even if there are two soul Douluo, I estimate that they can hold on for at least 10 minutes. If they were titled Douluo, the Black Lotus would be able to hold on for 1 or 2 minutes. They can hold on for so long. Everyone was shocked. After that, Oscar suggested, why don't we wait for reinforcements? We can't possibly kill them. 10 minutes was already very long. At this moment, the other party quickly launched another round of attacks. Several black soul rings lit up from the 6 of them. The two soul Douluo seemed to have sensed the strength of the mysterious barrier and didn't hold back at all. Their 10,000-year soul rings lit up as they unleashed powerful attacks. The Golden Eagle Soul Douluo's soul skill was a physical attack. After he possessed the Golden Eagle Soul Douluo, his eagle claws became many times bigger and shone with a dark green light. A pair of wings appeared on his back. He was like a shooting star chasing after the moon. He turned into a streak of light and descended. He wanted to use all his strength to break through the light barrier. He didn't want to waste any time. 8th soul skill. Eagle strikes the earth. The Golden Eagle Soul Douluo roared. His yellow earth centipede also unleashed its 8th soul skill. He burrowed into the ground, and the ground started to tremble. Countless cracks appeared from all directions and attacked the 8 people inside the Black Lotus light barrier. 8th soul skill, Earth Surge. In comparison, the soul skills of the other 4 soul emperors were much weaker. However, there were only supplementary attacks to supplement the attacks of the 2 soul Douluo. The terrifying momentum made the few people inside the light barrier a little uneasy. This was their first time witnessing the strength of a soul Douluo. Just the might of such a high-level 10,000-year soul skill was enough to intimidate people. It wasn't something that could be resisted by any technique. Just as Wang Feng thought, a battle between high-level soul masters was just that beautiful and boring. It wasn't as interesting as a battle between mid-level and low-level soul masters. You don't have to worry, Wang Feng said slowly. Although this kind of soul skill is powerful, there will be a short gap after the attack. I will use the 3rd soul skill of the Black Lotus on you guys, Thorny Lotus. You guys maintain the formation and quickly retreat. What about you? Ning Rongrong asked subconsciously. I'll stay here temporarily to help you stall for time. I'll also see if I can destroy them. No, we want to stay with you. Ning Rongrong shook her head. The others also shook their heads. I'm going to unleash my ultimate move later. All of you will be injured if you stay here. Wang Feng frowned. Zhu Qing walked over and tugged at Wang Feng's sleeve. She pursed her lips and shook her head. Brother Feng, do we look like the kind of people who would leave their teammates behind? Xiao Wu pouted. Brother, what do you think? Tang Sen nodded. That's right, Captain. We're also very strong, right? We can at least hold back 4 soul emperors, right? Ma Hongjun said. Dai Mubai and Oscar also nodded. Seeing this, Wang Feng couldn't say anything. So be if they stayed. At this moment, the two Soul Douluo and four Soul Emperors attacked again. Like 6 balls of light, they exploded above the Black Lotus. However, they couldn't break through. They only dimmed the color of the Black Lotus slightly. Following this, 3 figures were sent flying again. Little 3, cover our feet with blue silvergrass and surround us with spiderwebs. Wang Feng frowned and said in a low voice. The Yellow Earth Centipede Soul Douluo's attack was the most troublesome. It had the effect of cracking the ground and was a large-scale AoE attack. Even if the light barrier could prevent damage from the tremors, it would be more troublesome if the ground cracked and they fell into the cracks. End of chapter. Chapter 4:03. After hearing Wang Feng's words, Tang San quickly used his blue silvergrass and covered the ground with a layer of blue silvergrass. After that, he used the spiderweb to cover his feet. At this moment, the ground started to crack. From afar, it looked like everyone had landed in a spiderweb. The blue-silver grass covered the cracks and acted as a carpet for everyone. At the same time, Wang Feng used his thorn lotus on the 4 of them. Not only was their defense doubled, but they also had the ability to reflect all attacks. Even a Soul Emperor would have a hard time dealing any damage to them. However, it only lasted for an hour, just like a deified soul skill. However, this was an area of effect soul skill, and it consumed very little soul power. In comparison, the Golden Lotus's deified soul skill consumed much more soul power. This was because the Black Lotus's protective barrier would disappear after changing to the Red Lotus. This couldn't be helped. They couldn't use both forms at the same time. However, the Black Lotus had reflected 150% of the attack. The stronger the attack, the stronger the rebound. Wang Feng made use of this opportunity to turn the Black Lotus into a Red Lotus. After the transformation, the barrier formed by the Black Lotus disappeared. Stay by my side. Don't leave. Wang Feng took a deep breath and said. Everyone nodded. Wang Feng didn't want to run. Since these high-level soul masters had appeared, the title Douluo would be here soon. There was no need to run. The sword Douluo, bone Douluo, and Dugu Bo hadn't arrived yet. He could only stall for time. It would be troublesome if he ran. He could fight them and see if he could kill them. In his palm, the red karmic fire lotus's dazzling icy blue crystal edges and scorching flames exuded a dreamy beauty. It looked like a beautiful flower and didn't seem dangerous at all. Everyone watched closely. They didn't know what Wang Feng was going to do. Was he going to use his second soul skill? Although Wang Feng's second soul skill was powerful, it couldn't hurt a soul Douluo. It wasn't as if they hadn't seen the power of the Ice-Fire Furious Lotus before. Wang Feng injected a huge amount of soul power into the Red Lotus. In an instant, rays of resplendent light shone from each lotus petal. It's so beautiful. Ning Rongrong's eyes sparkled. Girls always pursued beauty. Not only her, but Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing were also attracted by the Red Lotus at this moment. However, Tang San's expression turned slightly serious. He could vaguely sense a terrifying energy fluctuation. Tang San couldn't put his finger on the specifics, but that feeling of terror was a kind of intuition. With his purple demon eyes, Tang San could faintly sense that at this moment, the Red Lotus was flowing with unimaginable energy fluctuations. Beautiful. Wang Feng smiled. She was indeed quite beautiful. He looked around him. Most of the academies had already pulled far away. Quite a few academies had already charged into this terrain. After all, those academies weren't like them, besieged by so many high-level soul masters. This meant that he could use that move now. This was the first time Wang Feng had used it after reaching level 45. The radiance of the Red Lotus became even more resplendent. His soul power surged into the Red Lotus like a torrential sea. At this moment, the two Soul Douluo who had been sent flying, one of them was in mid-air, while the other was underground. They both attacked Wang Feng again. At the same time, the four Soul Emperors attacked Wang Feng's group of 7. Furthermore, Their eyes shone even more ferociously when they saw the mysterious light barrier disappear. On the assassination list, the Shrek Academy's Tang San was on the list of people they had to kill. Similarly, another youth was also on the list of people they had to kill. It was the auxiliary-type soul master, Wang Feng. Even though they didn't know who this mysterious young man was, the two soul Douluo could guess that this young man was Wang Feng, the mysterious young prodigy of Shrek Academy, based on their unique characteristics and the red lotus in this young man's hand. Now, it seemed like Wang Feng's hidden abilities were even greater than Tang San's twin martial souls. This was because Wang Feng seemed to have another defense-type martial soul. Even their attacks could be completely blocked. What did this mean? A defensive soul skill used by a rank 45 soul master could block the attacks of 2 soul Douluo and 4 soul emperors. Not only could that mysterious light barrier block their attacks, but it could also weaken their abilities. If this were to be revealed, the entire continent would be shocked. But now that Wang Feng had withdrawn that terrifying pitch-black light barrier, it seemed that his soul power couldn't support it anymore, right? After all, such a powerful skill could completely block 2 waves of attacks. It was already too exaggerated. Of the 6 people, 1 was a control-type soul master, and 1 was a long-range soul master. The 4 close combat soul masters turned into 4 streaks of light as they attacked Tang San again. Although their fighting strength had been weakened by 30%, and they were also injured by the recoil, they were still far from losing their ability to fight. The black golden black soul master released a sky full of branches again, and several silver arrows of light shot over from afar. I've finished gathering power. Wang Feng let out a deep sigh, his face slightly pale. At this moment, the red lotus light had reached a pinnacle. It was even more dazzling than the sun in the sky. The ice crystals on the lotus petals reflected the red cheeks of the 7 people. The flowing light was overflowing with color, and occasionally, an icy blue energy would flash, causing one's heart to palpitate. Close your eyes immediately when the light is too blinding. Wang Feng said in a low voice. Looking at the people who attacked him again, Wang Feng shouted softly, "Ice Flame, Fury Lotus." After saying that, Wang Feng suddenly threw the red lotus out. Everyone's eyes widened. They remembered that the Ice Flame Fury Lotus was a lotus petal explosion. Wait, could it be that the entire red lotus is exploding now? As if thinking of something, Tang San felt that his breathing seemed to be frozen. Explode. Wang Feng gently snapped his fingers, crisp and melodious. The next moment, boom, as if the whole world was lit up. The light of the scorching flames and the color of the ice crystals filled their vision. At this moment, Wang Feng quickly operated the Black Lotus and set up a pitch-black light barrier again. Logically speaking, although the name was a little Chinibyu, the person was not Chinibyu. Moreover, the power of this move, the explosion of the Hellfire Red Lotus, seemed to annihilate all the evil in the world and freeze all the beauty in the mortal world. In the endless light, everything turned into powder. The stones on the ground, the surrounding woods, and countless black-clothed men's corpses all turned into powder. The attacking black gold willow in the air turned into dust in an instant. All the attacks ceased to exist in the explosion of the Red Lotus. 2 terrifying waves of air directly exploded. The 2 soul emperors who rushed over were almost instantly burned to ashes by the scorching heat. Their skin was scorched, and then they were frozen into popsicles. Then, the terrifying explosion instantly sent them flying. They were not far from death. Black Gold Willow and Light Arrow Soul Emperors who were a little further away were not any better. Black Gold Willow hurriedly used his Black Gold Willow to wrap himself up, and his soul power crazily surged. But the result was even worse because his body was not as strong as the 2 soul emperors. After being frozen into a popsicle, under the terrifying explosion, he directly turned into countless ice particles. It was as dazzling as the explosion of snowflakes. End of this chapter. Chapter 404. The two Soul Douluo fared much better, but they were the closest to the center of the explosion. Even the golden eagle Soul Douluo in the sky wasn't spared. However, he was much better off than the four Soul Emperors. After he was burned by the flames, he immediately used his soul power to unleash a defensive skill. His body seemed to be plated with a layer of gold, and he turned into a real golden eagle. After that, he was frozen. Under the terrifying impact of the explosion, he was shot in midair like an arrow and quickly fell to the ground. The yellow earth centipede, Soul Douluo, on the ground was the least affected. This was because he was able to use the ground to resist the terrifying explosion. However, under the impact of the explosion, the ground seemed to have been plowed and was directly shaken up. The yellow earth centipede, Soul Douluo, who had burrowed into the ground, was blown away. However, his body was covered with a thick layer of earth-like armor. Evidently, it was also a type of defensive soul skill that was used to resist the explosion. However, the earth-like armor on his body was quickly burnt to a pulp. Under the impact of the explosion, it was directly crushed. He also screamed in pain. The Ice Flame Fury Lotus's area of effect was too large. Within a radius of 1,000 meters, everything was reduced to dust. Such a large-scale offensive soul skill was several times stronger than many missiles that Wang Feng had seen before. Compared to the mysterious underworld spike, the Ice Flame Fury Lotus was an uncontrollable soul skill. Once it was released, all life within its area of effect would be dealt a fatal blow. There was no way to control enemies. This was why the second soul skill's strength and lethality far exceeded the mysterious underworld spike in large-scale battles. Once there were more than 10,000 people in a large-scale battle, the damage caused by the second soul skill was simply terrifying. Right now, Wang Feng was using it to attack the 6 Soul Masters. This was because although it covered a large area, it couldn't cause fatal damage to high-level Soul Masters, such as Soul Douluo. To Soul Emperors, it could cause significant damage. If they weren't assault-type Soul Masters, such as Control-type, Auxiliary-type, or Long-Range Soul Masters, their defenses weren't strong. It could even kill them instantly. However, its strength would decrease with each layer. The center was the most lethal, and the impact of the explosion would weaken. However, the special powers of fire and ice wouldn't weaken. It's more draining than I expected. However, it's also much stronger than I expected, Wang Feng murmured. At the moment of the explosion, Tang San and the others were unable to open their eyes because of the strong light. Even Tang San subconsciously closed his eyes. The terrifying impact was constantly hitting the light shield formed by the Black Lotus. Fortunately, Black Lotus has a reserve of soul power. Otherwise, it would be difficult to resist. Wang Feng thought to himself. The Ice Flame Fury Lotus exploded. This was because the explosions happened in an orderly manner. The Lotus platform of the Red Lotus was the first to explode, resulting in the most powerful explosion. Following that, the Lotus petals would explode one after another, resulting in the subsequent explosions. Not only did it have the terrifying destructive power of an instant explosion, but it also had the ability to continuously explode, catching the enemy off guard. Therefore, this was only a momentary burst of power. He still had to withstand the continuous explosion. A series of explosions entered the ears of the crowd. Countless ripples appeared on the pitch-black light shield. The soul power stored in the Black Lotus was quickly depleted. There was nothing he could do about it. This was the other weakness of the Ice Flame Fury Lotus, which was that it didn't differentiate between friend and foe. Fortunately, Wang Feng and Black Lotus had extremely high defensive power. Otherwise, they would have died on the spot from the explosion. The sound of the explosion gradually decreased. Wang Feng dispersed the light shield and formed a red lotus in his palm again. A sharp look flashed across his eyes. Of course, he had no intention of using it again. I'll let you have a taste of the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike. A streak of scarlet light appeared on Wang Feng's fingertip. It was the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike that burned with the red lotus karmic fire. He had seen very clearly just now. Although the two Soul Dalu were injured, their injuries weren't fatal. He needed to finish them off. As for the other four Soul Emperors, the two Soul Emperors were not far from death. He didn't need to finish them off. Actually, Wang Feng had an easier way to kill these two Soul Dalu. He could directly use the Pango axe on them. Even if he couldn't kill them with one axe, he could at least use two axes to put them in a half-dead state. Wang Feng didn't even need to use the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike. Furthermore, Wang Feng felt that he should be able to use 3 axes now. However, he had exposed too much and didn't have much soul power left. If a titled Douluo appeared later, and Dugu Bo and the rest didn't arrive in time, what should he do? All these considerations made Wang Feng unwilling to use the Pango axe. Swish! In the time that Tang San and the rest closed their eyes, the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike attacked the two Soul Dalu like a scarlet flowing light. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. He just needed to control 2 spikes. As long as they touched even a little, they would definitely be severely injured. Even if they didn't die now, they wouldn't be far from death when they returned. Furthermore, it was so silent that it was difficult to detect. CI. 2 streaks of light directly pierced the 2 Soul Dalu who were lying on the ground. It had to be said that the Soul Dalu's vitality was too tenacious. This was especially so for the Yellow Earth Centipede. Although it was injured, it wasn't fatal. Furthermore, it recovered very quickly. However, after the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike pierced the 2 of them, their bodies jerked. They felt as if their souls were burning with a flame the size of a strand of hair. It gave them a splitting headache, and they were in excruciating pain. However, their karma wasn't as strong as when Wang Feng met them earlier. It didn't have the same effect as before. He withdrew the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike. Wang Feng heaved a sigh of relief. When he thought of using the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike earlier, Wang Feng had thought of using the Ice Flame Fury God's Lotus to attack first before using the mysterious underworld karmic fire spike to finish them off. He could be considered to have used the power of 5th gear just now. He had to use his trump cards to turn the situation around. Otherwise, the 2 Soul Dalu wouldn't have any chance at all. If there was only one of them, Wang Feng could use 4th gear and his 3 soul skills to fight him. If he used the Godslayer Spear, Wang Feng was even confident that he could kill him in a short period of time. However, there were 2 of them, and there were 4 Soul Emperors. They weren't easy to deal with. Furthermore, Wang Feng didn't intend to reveal the Godslayer Spear here. At this point, Tang San seemed to have sensed that the strength of the explosion had decreased. He couldn't help but open his eyes. The moment they opened their eyes, they were all stunned. There was a huge crater in front of them. It was as if someone had used a spoon to dig out a huge portion of it from between 2 hills. Not a single blade of grass grew within a few hundred meters. Even the ground was covered by countless ice, crystals, and flames. 2 of the 4 Soul Emperors had disappeared. Only the 2 Soul Emperors were half lying in the distance. They were barely breathing. The 2 Soul Dalu were the same. They were even howling in pain. No one knew what kind of pain and blow they were experiencing. The 7 of them opened their mouths. They couldn't speak at all. It was too shocking. What kind of terrifying strength was this? 2 Soul Dalu and 4 Soul Emperors had no fighting strength at all. There were even 2 Soul Emperors. They couldn't even see them. Were they dead? This was the first time the 7 of them had seen Wang Feng use the Ice Flame Fury God's Lotus. Its strength was unimaginably great. Brother Feng, what was that move just now? Tang San breathed in the air, but he felt a little stuffy. End of this chapter. Chapter 405. Ice Flame Fury Lotus. Wang Feng coughed a few times and pretended to be pale and weak. The ultimate version of my 2nd soul skill. I poured almost all my soul power into the red lotus and caused it to explode. The power of this move doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. It can even cause fatal damage to a Soul Emperor. I just used my remaining soul power to operate the Black Lotus and temporarily protected us. Although everyone knew that Wang Feng's research on soul skills was extremely deep, they didn't expect Wang Feng to be able to improve and strengthen his second soul skill into such a terrifying soul skill. Isn't this too terrifying? Ma Hongjun murmured. It's at least several times stronger than a normal ice flame fury lotus. It can even cause damage to a soul Douluo. Those two control type and long-range soul emperors were directly killed, right? The range is so big. It attacks indiscriminately. They knew the power of the ice flame fury lotus. And this ultimate version, the shock was similar to when Wang Feng saw the nuclear explosion for the first time in a documentary. A rank 45 soul master was able to inflict such damage on a soul Douluo. This was simply too shocking. Tang San thought of his hidden weapon. His hidden weapon could actually cause damage to a soul Douluo, but it required the soul Douluo to be unprepared and he had to attack secretly. But it was far from that level. Not to mention the 4 soul emperors. Xiao Ao, make some sausages. Although this soul skill is terrifying, it consumes too much soul power. Tang San hurriedly said, with Brother Feng's soul power, he should only be able to use it once. Actually, I can use it twice. Wang Fengxin said, but it didn't mean much. The upper limit of the ice flame fury lotus power was there. 2 more times wouldn't be able to kill a soul Douluo. It would only make their injuries worse. And when they were prepared, they would be more vigilant. Just now, they had hurriedly defended, so the effect was the best. So Wang Feng only used the Xianming karmic firethorn. They were now immersed in the pain of the karmic fire burning their souls and couldn't continue to attack. Wang Feng ate the Jinhua sausages to satisfy his hunger. Such a huge commotion also alarmed some of the people who were fighting in the surroundings. However, the distance was very far, and the impact of the explosion at the edge was already very small. It directly sent some of the students and black-clothed men who were still fighting flying. Flinder and Lu Erlong had been held back by the 2 soul sages, and had fought their way into the forest far away. When they felt the shock waves from the explosion, they immediately rushed out and broke free from the 2 soul sages. However, they were quickly caught again. Zhao Wuji and Qin Ming were in the same situation, so they were not clear about the situation here. Let's leave this place first. Wang Feng thought for a moment and said, the other academies have already rushed out of this terrain. Everyone nodded. Their minds were still in a mess, but it was better to leave this place as soon as possible. However, they had only taken a few steps when a white figure suddenly appeared in front of them. What a powerful 8 brats! To actually be able to injure them to this extent. A feminine voice rang out from the mouth of the masked man in white. At some point in time, he was standing in front of them. It was as if a gust of wind had blown past, and he had appeared. Seeing this, Tang San and the others instantly felt their hair stand on end. There's more? Furthermore, this masked man in white exuded a terrifying soul power aura. It's a titled Douluo. Wang Feng frowned slightly. The difference in soul power was too great, and Wang Feng's perception soul skill was also a little blurry. However, Wang Feng could guess that the other party was either the Chrysanthemum or the Ghost Awe. Titled? Ma Hongjun was stunned. What kind of card are they playing? Even a titled Douluo has appeared? Logically speaking, the old poison, the sword Douluo, and the bone Douluo should be here soon. Why haven't they appeared yet? Wang Fengxin's heart tightened a little. He had delayed for so long because he wanted to wait for them to arrive. The old poison didn't say anything, but she was Shrek's guest elder. Before the advancement, he had returned. However, he was nowhere to be found. No one knew where he was. Even if the sword Douluo and the bone Douluo weren't requested by Ning Rongrong, they should have at least sent one of them to protect Ning Rongrong. This was also why Wang Feng wasn't very worried. However, the titled Doll from the Martial Soul Hall had appeared. At this moment, the white-clothed man slowly walked towards them. He walked very slowly, but every step he took gave everyone a pressure that was as heavy as Mount Tai. The 7 of them started to tremble. The first to collapse were Oscar and Ning Rongrong. Fortunately, Oscar supported Dai Mubai. Ning Rongrong leaned on Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing with her hands. The seven of them released their martial souls. Ning Rongrong even used soul power amplification on the seven of them to reduce the pressure on them. The white-clothed man was surrounded by a layer of pale yellow fog. This was the source of the pressure. You guys, at this moment, the feminine voice sounded again, as if he was shocked by their martial souls. Suddenly, he seemed to have seen something and became excited. Impossible! How can there be so many of them? The more excited he was, the more his figure flashed and appeared in front of the seven of them. Boom! Almost instantly, the seven people's minds went blank. That terrifying pressure caused the surrounding air to fall into a state of solidification. The seven of them couldn't even move a finger. At this moment, a low voice sounded. Although it's very dangerous now, use all your soul power and martial souls. You might be able to break through your soul power rank. Don't forget that the immortal herbs you've eaten still have strong medicinal effects. Hearing this, everyone was slightly awakened. Tang Sin didn't even listen to this reminder. He started to crazily use his soul power to resist the terrifying pressure from the white-clothed man. A mellow medicinal fragrance slowly spread from the seven of them. Wang Feng didn't use it. He had already used up most of the medicinal effects. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus had used up almost half of the medicinal effects to create his current terrifying physique. Wang Feng didn't even use his soul power to resist. Wang Feng wanted to try the pressure from a new title Dalu. It could be considered survival. It would be best if he could squeeze out the energy from the meteoric tier. If Dugabo and the two Dalu from the Luli sect really didn't come, he could only use the Pango axe. Impossible, absolutely impossible. However, the white-clothed title Dalu was even more shocked, especially when the seven of them were emitting a medicinal fragrance from their bodies because of his pressure. He was like a man who had been thirsty for decades and met a peerless beauty. His eyes under the mask shone with a terrifying light. Singular velvet sky, connecting chrysanthemum. No wonder you were so familiar with this kid's aura. It's actually such an immortal item. However, this singular velvet sky, connecting chrysanthemum, seems to have some changes. The white-clothed man swept his gaze across Dai Mubai. After that, he looked at the others. The light in his eyes became even brighter. Cocktail Phoenix Crown Flower? No, it's not just, how can this be? 8-petal immortal orchid? No, the 8-petal immortal orchid's medicinal effects aren't like this. What's going on? End of chapter. Chapter 406. The white-robed man looked at them one by one, but he didn't want to hurt them. Yearning heartbreak, red intestines. It's the king of all flowers, the yearning heartbreak, red intestines. No wonder this girl can resist my aura, even though her soul power isn't very high. The white-robed man looked at Xiao Wu with greed in his eyes and sighed. Unfortunately, it's impossible to take the yearning heartbreak, red intestines after it recognizes its master. This kid, he has the aura of 2 immortal herbs on him. He took 2 of them. He's still alive? The white-robed man looked at Tang San, and his expression changed drastically. No wonder the palace sent people to kill this kid. It's a pity that 2 immortal herbs were wasted. And this one, why don't I smell any herb on him? All 7 of them have it. Aren't they from the same academy? The white-robed man looked at Wang Feng. He naturally did not know that the medicinal effects in Wang Feng's body had already been squeezed dry, resulting in his current physique. Half a year ago, when Wang Feng and Air Ming were training, they didn't have much left. After training for half a year, they were all drained. This was another reason why Wang Feng didn't want to use the Red Lotus Karmic Fire to refine his brain and sternum. The white-robed man shook his head. Other than this young man, the others are all treasures. But even so, how did they do it? The white-robed, titled Dalu stared at the howling soul Dalu on the ground in the distance, and a look of shock flashed across his eyes. 2 soul sages and 4 soul emperors had been beaten to such a state. This was completely beyond the capabilities of the 8 of them. He had just arrived, and he was shocked to see this scene. At this moment, the white-robed man sniffed, and his expression changed. This is cloud-weaving stars, crescent moon incense. These are two immortal herbs. How did they appear on two people at the same time? Their aura is so pure that it's not inferior to the yearning heartbreak red intestines. Impossible, this kind of legendary medicinal herb actually exists. The white-robed man looked at Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing with shock in his eyes. Furthermore, these two immortal herbs have undergone a huge transformation. Both of their martial souls have mutated. Compared to the child who consumed the singular velvet sky, reaching chrysanthemum, they were even stronger. Where did these immortal herbs come from? This is definitely not a normal immortal herb. The white-robed man's eyes shone brightly as his pressure increased once again. Puchi. The seven of them coughed out mouthfuls of blood. Even Wang Feng's expression changed slightly. However, their soul force had increased by 1 rank, but it was of no use in their current situation. Girls, where did the immortal herbs that you two consumed come from? The man in white narrowed his eyes and glanced at Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong. Tell me, and I won't kill you. I can even make an exception and take you as my disciples. Hearing this, the seven of them were stunned, but their hearts also sank. Very few people knew about the immortal grass. Even a titled Douluo like Douluo didn't know about these immortal herbs. If this titled Dalu knew about this, then he definitely had a deep understanding of these immortal herbs. Don't try to deceive me. The man in white said plainly, I know the effects of the cloud-weaving starry sky and the crescent moon incense better than any of you. The immortal herbs that you obtained are definitely not normal. Either they were altered by someone, or they were caused by a natural phenomenon. But if they were caused by a natural phenomenon, then the immortal herbs that you have on you have all changed. This is obviously impossible. There is no such thing as a coincidence. It can only be caused by someone. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. It seemed like this titled Douluo was extremely knowledgeable about these immortal herbs. The two of you speak. The white-robed titled Douluo stared at Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong as he spoke in a deep voice. Everyone was silent. Zhu Zhuqing didn't say a word. Ning Rongrong didn't say anything either. If you don't speak, I will kill all of you one by one. The white-robed man suddenly laughed. After speaking, 9 soul rings lit up on his body. They shone with a blinding light. Although they had guessed that the other party was a titled Douluo, seeing it with their own eyes still made the 7 of them feel suffocated. What's wrong? The white-robed man looked at the 7 of them and laughed strangely. I'm just asking you to speak. I'm not going to kill you. Is this person very important to all of you? If you don't speak, I'm really going to kill you. The 7 of them gritted their teeth. If they spoke, this secret would be exposed, and Wang Feng would be in an extremely dangerous situation. At this moment, Flinder and Lu Erlong finally broke free from the 2 soul sages. When they saw the white-robed titled Douluo, they immediately charged over. The 2 of them were like 2 streaks of flowing light as they pounced towards the white-robed man. However, the white-robed man only snorted coldly. An immortal herb similar to the singular velvet sky, chrysanthemum, that Dai Mubai had consumed appeared in his hand. This was his martial soul. The singular velvet sky, chrysanthemum, was an immortal herb. If it was a martial soul, it would naturally be a very powerful one. A dim yellow light formed a barrier around the white-robed man's body. Lu Erlong and Flinder turned into 2 streaks of light and collided with the barrier. However, the white-robed man's body only moved slightly. He wasn't hurt at all. On the other hand, the 2 of them were directly injured and spat out fresh blood. After that, he sensed that Zhao Wuji and Qin Ming didn't attack. The white-robed man blew at the singular velvet sky, chrysanthemum, in his hand. A huge shockwave was released from his martial soul and sent flying towards the white-robed man. All right, I'm not in a mood to waste time with all of you. The white-robed man said plainly, if you don't speak, all of you will die. If you speak, not only will I spare your lives, I'll even take you in as my disciples. The 7 of them were silent. They could faintly sense the aura of death. Suddenly, Wang Feng groaned and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. He felt the energy from the meteoric tear flowing through his body and heaved a sigh of relief. This white-robed titled Douluo's rank should be higher than Dugabo's. Soul power suppression was indeed effective. The meteoric tear was still useful. Although he rarely felt this way, the energy surging from the meteoric tear could at least help him increase by 1 rank, even though it couldn't raise his physical attributes by much. How comfortable! When she saw Wang Feng spit out blood, Ning Rongrong exclaimed. After that, she gritted her teeth and said, "I can tell you." Seeing this, the others were stunned. "But you have to let them go." Ning Rongrong pointed at Wang Feng and the others. "Of course." The white-robed man smiled. "Tell me, who gave you these immortal herbs?" To be honest, although these immortal herbs were amazing, there was something wrong with them. Someone must have specially cultivated them. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many changes. Although these children were precious, if they could find out who this person was, it meant that they could obtain more mutated immortal herbs in the future. That was the most important thing. Rongrong, Tang San's expression turned cold. Previously, Ning Rongrong had told her father about Feng Feng cultivating these immortal herbs. Although Feng Feng didn't make a fuss about it, she gave off the feeling that she wasn't someone who would keep her mouth shut. It was no wonder that she would say it now. Tang San felt a little regretful. He shouldn't have said that Feng Feng cultivated these immortal herbs. However, Ning Rongrong took a deep breath and said slowly, "It's me. It's me. These immortal herbs were cultivated by me." Hearing this, the few of them were astonished. "Right, let's talk about something. Please give us a wave of monthly votes. We are now ranked 10th on the monthly votes list. I hope that everyone can give us some monthly votes and make it to the top 6. Thank you. Let's continue tonight in a chapter. Chapter 407. Almost no one expected Ning Rongrong to say something like that. This was because she had been in such a situation before. Everyone thought that she would tell them about Wang Feng nurturing the herbs. They didn't expect her to be talking about herself. This unexpected answer caused everyone to be incomparably astonished, but at the same time, they felt that it was reasonable. At this moment, everyone finally felt the emotions in Ning Rongrong's heart. They were all speechless. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Ning Rongrong in a daze. She had never thought of telling them about this. She wouldn't say it even if she died. However, she didn't expect Ning Rongrong to choose such a method to bear the pressure from this white-clothed titled Dalu. Wang Feng was also a little astonished, but he was also a little silent. He could roughly understand why Ning Rongrong had chosen to step forward at this moment. There were many reasons. Besides him, Ning Rongrong knew that she was the daughter of the leader of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. Even if she admitted her identity, this white-clothed titled wouldn't dare to do anything to her because of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. However, that was impossible. The white-clothed titled Dalu wouldn't believe her. "You nurtured it?" The white-clothed titled Dalu looked at Ning Rongrong and sized her up. He couldn't help but chuckle. "A little girl, like you can nurture it? However, since you dare to step forward and admit it, it means that you might know who it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be impersonating. Your martial soul is a mutation of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. Are you from the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect? However, even if you are, I'll still take you away." After he finished speaking, the white-clothed titled Dalu walked in front of Ning Rongrong. Naturally, he didn't believe that Ning Rongrong was the one who nurtured the herbs. However, since she had suddenly admitted it, she would definitely know who the real person was. He wasn't sure who among the 7 of them knew who the person who nurtured the herbs was. However, since this little girl had stepped forward to impersonate, she would definitely know. As long as he captured her and interrogated her, it would be much easier than threatening the 7 of them. This little girl was too inexperienced. She actually wanted to deceive him? The white-robed titled Dalu laughed in his heart. This silly girl said that on purpose. Wang Feng couldn't help but think to himself, Attract this titled Douluo's attention. Make him focus on one person and ignore everyone else. That was what Ning Rongrong thought. Of course, she knew that if she said it out loud, no one would believe her. However, this was enough. This titled Douluo's attention was focused on her. He believed that she definitely knew who the person who had nurtured the immortal herb was. When the time came, he would interrogate her and not focus on anyone else. She wasn't stupid. She never thought that the other party would really believe her. Furthermore, if this were to drag on, no one would say a word. What if the other party really made a move on them and killed them? In any case, there were 8 of them. In the end, one of them would spill the beans. It was better for her to stand out in advance to attract the other party's attention and prevent such a situation from happening. Ning Rongrong pursed her lips and snorted softly. She thought to herself, so what if you take me away? When you find out that I'm the daughter of the leader of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect, I don't believe that you'll offend the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. Ning Rongrong was very clear that even though this person was a titled Douluo, he wouldn't do anything to her even if he took her away. Wang Feng is very weak now. I can't let you take him away. I can't let you hurt everyone either. However, at this moment, a laugh sounded. Since when did a titled Douluo have to threaten the younger generation? After he finished speaking, Wang Feng walked in front of Ning Rongrong and glared at her. It seemed like he was saying, "Why are you standing out?" Ning Rongrong was a little stunned. She pursed her lips and thought, I'm just worried about you and everyone else. Oh, the chrysanthemum Douluo looked at Wang Feng and squinted his eyes. Threaten? Haha, kid, it's already good enough that I'm giving you a chance to live. So what if I'm threatening you? Wang Feng sighed softly. He knew all kinds of flowers and plants like the back of his hand. Furthermore, he had used his strange velvet sky chrysanthemum martial soul just now. This Douluo was naturally the chrysanthemum Douluo. However, Wang Feng didn't say his name. It was just that he really wouldn't let him take Ning Rongrong away. Although Ning Rongrong's actions were good, she had attracted the other party's attention. However, it was a pity that this titled Douluo's target wasn't just the person who nurtured the immortal herbs. His target was Tang San and Wang Feng. In other words, even if he took Ning Rongrong away, he would still kill them. This was the goal of their trip. You're a titled Douluo. Of course, you have a right to threaten us. However, Wang Feng paused as he spoke. At this moment, Douluo still hadn't arrived. Wang Feng had no other choice. Wang Feng's palm glowed. Pan, just as he said that word in his heart. Suddenly, a loud voice sounded from afar. Chrysanthemum Guan, you're willing to put aside your pride to threaten the younger generation just for a few herbs? Shameless. These little fellows are under my Douluo's protection. Why don't you try touching them? The loud voice sounded in all directions. Wang Feng was speechless. He hurriedly waved his hand and thought to himself, you're finally here. If you don't come, I'll really have to use my panga axe. Tang San and Wang Feng were very familiar with this voice. It was the old poison, Douluo. The chrysanthemum Douluo's expression changed. He looked into the distance and said coldly, I didn't expect the old poison, who doesn't belong to any organization, to become an academy's lackey. When did you get over it, Douluo? In the distance, Douluo flew over. His soul ring shone. His titled aura seemed to form an emerald serpent emperor as he confronted the chrysanthemum Douluo. Aren't you a lackey too? Douluo laughed. Chrysanthemum Guan, I'm a senior advisor of the Shrek Academy. My status isn't lower than yours. How dare you call me a lackey? Douluo seemed to know this titled Douluo. From his tone, they seemed to be old acquaintances. However, there were only so many titled Douluo on the continent. He knew most of them. I'm warning you. If you dare to say those words again, I'll kill them too. The chrysanthemum Douluo's voice was sharp and soft. Douluo wasn't afraid at all. Their auras intertwined in midair, causing the space around them to become very stagnant. Let's retreat. Wang Feng whispered to everyone. With a titled Douluo here, there was nothing for them to do. Tang San and the others nodded and slowly retreated. However, at this moment, a ghost-like figure appeared behind the crowd, accompanied by a hoarse and gloomy voice. Old chrysanthemum, the old poison is very close to you. What's wrong with letting him call you that? I think chrysanthemum guan sounds nice. Why don't I call you little chrysanthemum? This sinister voice sounded like it was talking to a fan. It was intermittent, and it was very creepy. However, Wang Feng's body tensed up when he looked behind him. End of chapter. Chapter 408. It was a figure shrouded in shadows. His entire body was pitch black, and his voice came from within. Gue Douluo. Wang Feng's pupils shrank. He was familiar with the two Douluo from the Martial Soul Hall. However, since Gue Douluo had appeared, Ning Fengji and the rest should have arrived as well. Why aren't they here yet? Ghost, I dare you to say that again. Zhu Douluo snorted coldly. His tone was filled with dissatisfaction towards Gue Douluo. Gue Douluo chuckled and said, Xiao Ju, stop wasting time. Little Juju, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and kill this Tang San and Wang Feng. Don't worry about the rest. I just circled around and realized that 9 opening had already disappeared. If we let these two escape, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Zhu Douluo was stunned when he heard this. The two of them had just arrived. He was attracted by the battle here, while Gate wanted to find 9 opening to prevent him from escaping. However, he didn't expect 9 opening to really escape. Zhu Douluo's expression changed. He was obsessed with plants, and he wanted to find out how these people got their herbs. However, he didn't have the chance to do so now. If he didn't accomplish his goal, he wouldn't be able to explain himself when he returned. In the next moment, Zhu Douluo's martial soul shone brightly, and a majestic aura came crashing down. Dugabo didn't want to be outdone. He immediately revealed his jade unicorn snake emperor's body, and the two of them started fighting. Gue Douluo charged towards Tang, San, and the rest. He disappeared almost as soon as he finished speaking to Zhu Douluo. When Gue Douluo disappeared, Tang San and the rest broke out in cold sweat. Tang San's purple demon eyes were already activated to the maximum, but he couldn't see his opponent clearly. A tidal Douluo's strength was on a completely different level to them now. Only Wang Feng's eyes flashed, and he instantly entered his spatial state. Only then was he barely able to discover Gue Douluo's figure. Too fast. Is this the speed of a tidal Douluo? Wang Feng's eyes turned around, and his expression was extremely grave. He could only see Gue Douluo's speed after he entered his spatial state. An agility-type tidal Douluo's speed was far beyond Wang Feng's imagination. You're quite interesting. You can actually discover me? At this moment, Gue Douluo's sinister voice sounded again. Not simple. A rank 45 Soul Master can actually match the speed of a rank 95 tidal Douluo? Unfortunately, so what if you see it clearly? Gue Douluo was astonished. He was a rank 95 tidal Douluo. Even if he didn't use any soul skills, a rank 45 soul ancestor wouldn't be able to detect him. Even a soul sage or a soul Douluo wouldn't be able to detect it. How'd he find out? However, Gue Douluo couldn't be bothered to think too much about it. Almost at the same time, Tang San's team of 7 unleashed their soul skills. An extreme sense of danger lingered in their hearts. Even though they released their martial souls, it did not give them any sense of security. The strength of a tidal Douluo seems to have exceeded my expectations. Wang Feng, who had entered the void state, didn't do anything. The Ghost Shadow Douluo was simply too fast. Tang San's team couldn't react at all. Although Wang Feng could sense Gue Douluo's position, it would be difficult for him to defeat him. Even if he used Panga's axe, it would be impossible. Even though he couldn't hit him, he might be able to block him. Black Lotus! Wang Feng let out a low growl and moved. He floated directly towards Gue Douluo. The light of the Black Lotus covered his entire body. At the same time, he gave himself the effect of the Thorny Lotus. The situation was urgent, and he didn't have time to use his Golden Lotus. You're courting death. Gue Douluo's eyes flashed coldly. A rank 45 brat dares to charge towards me? Even if he can sense my position, who gave him the confidence to do so? Both of them were too fast. Tang San's team of 7 couldn't react at all. They only heard an ear-piercing sound in the air. The huge shockwave caused everyone's clothes to flutter. Then they saw Wang Feng fly backwards. His feet left a long trail on the ground. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Finally, he supported himself with one hand on the ground. Wang Feng. The few of them screamed in shock. On the other side, Douluo suddenly appeared in front of them. He looked at Wang Feng quietly. His eyes, which were hidden in his shadow, were a little shocked. This brat, he didn't die after taking one of my attacks. Douluo was shocked. A rank 45 soul ancestor could take one of his attacks? He didn't hold back in his attack just now. He wanted to kill Wang Feng in one blow. He didn't use any soul skills. His body was terrifyingly strong. But this brat could take it? It's a pity that my soul power contains some shadowy force. No matter how strong this brat's body is, he'll go crazy and die if my shadowy force enters his body. Douluo laughed coldly in his heart. Shadowy force was a special attack of his. It usually existed in his soul power. By attacking with his opponent, his shadowy force would enter his opponent's body and erode his opponent's spirit. It was a special spiritual attack. As for the other soul ancestor, Douluo looked at Tang San. There was a fierce look in his eyes. He was about to attack. At this moment, the space around them froze a little. A streak of sword light suddenly flashed through the void. It seemed to have locked onto Douluo. Only another title Douluo could lock onto a title Douluo's aura. A light breeze blew. Countless streaks of sword light flashed past. A white-haired elder suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Oh, Sword Down Mortal Heart. Douluo looked at that elder and said coldly, I didn't expect the famous Sword Down Mortal Heart Sword to interfere in this matter. Scram! Douluo closed his eyes. He exuded a supreme aura of Sword Dao. The sword in his hand hummed and resonated through the clouds. Wang Feng is the son-in-law of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sect. Tang San is a friend of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sect. Ning Fengji, naturally won't agree. Ning Fengji's 7 Treasure Glazed Pagoda shone brightly. He had a faint smile on his face as he walked over slowly. Damn, you're taking advantage of me. Wang Fengxin was speechless. Since when did I agree to be the son-in-law of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sect? But at this moment, Wang Feng didn't have the mood to care about this. When he came into contact with Douluo earlier, Wang Feng felt an extremely cold aura enter his body from Douluo's palm. Fortunately, this aura could be absorbed by the Black Lotus. It just needed some time to convert it. Otherwise, if this aura was allowed to stay in his body, it would cause trouble. However, Douluo's expression was very bad. He looked at the two of them and knew that it was impossible today. He snorted coldly. Little Juju, let's go. Someone is meddling in our business today. Just remember this. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.